Put my
Let me bring my microphone to me. Check a 1 2. Oh, we're live. Peace, peace and power. Welcome back, everyone.
peace, y'all.
Let me turn my camera off. Hold on, y'all. Y'all know I be into the extracurriculars. Excuse me, sorry. But welcome back. We
Yes.
missed y'all. We apologize. But y'all know we doing our thing. It's gonna be when we doing our thing, okay?
Right. It's a new season, new year.
Right.
Just hit the ground running with it.
And happy new year to everybody that celebrates the new year in its proper place. Um we are jumping off. Gardening class has started. So me and Jennifer both have been out in the yard trying to get it together.
Hmm.
And so we're on that. I am Nina from Styles by Nina. Let me turn my camera back on. Hold on. Well, Jennifer, you want to go on and introduce yourself?
Yes, Jenny Marie, the abundant sister. Welcome. I am a creator, a voice actress, I don't know, mother, sister,
A VP.
VP.
Right.
But yeah, I create skincare products, Soul Sister Beauty. You can visit my website at soulsisterbeauty.com. Yeah, welcome. Happy to have y'all read chapter 8.
Right. And I am Nina from Styles by Nina. Y'all have to pardon me. I'm in disarray today. I have been in the yard all day. I woke up, showered, got ready for gardening class, and then I had to actually garden. So me explaining is not the actual work. Even though I enjoyed it, shout out to all my gardeners. You all showed up today. Everybody introduced themselves. I felt all warm and fuzzy on the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we took a look at the herb garden this year. And I'm one of those gardeners that I'll buy something or something could be left. The previous owner left so many pots here, right?
Oh
And
wow.
I honor that because I'm a gardener. Just she didn't know that. And so I had a lot to work with. And so my husband, he hates it because it is like clutter, especially when gardening season comes. I'm pulling it all out. And so I finally found something to do with the landscaping border plastic that I bought 2 years ago. And so I
Okay.
just made little perfect circles for my herbal garden just to keep it in its space. And then if I want to plant some lemongrass or some chives, I have those extra corners to do so with. And so it just felt good getting out there and finally having a vision for the garden.
That
Cause
sounds like a lovely day.
yeah, it was. It was. I enjoyed it. We got the sunflowers in the ground. I love the sunflowers. And so we got those in the ground. We're gonna have a rainstorm tonight. We got them fenced off. I planted some amaranth this year and echinacea, a coneflower. I am just excited. We went out there, we set our intentions together as a family, and we
Mm.
tossed the seeds into the dirt. And so we're just gonna let that rain water those intentions. And then we get to hey Lisa. Then we get to see the fruits of the labor, even though the bees are already here, honey. You was talking about the bees earlier. We have a bush that sprouts little bitty, teeny, tiny flowers early.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a bush that has like 1,000 bees, literally just
Wow.
yeah. So I'm thinking about getting into beekeeping. I found this house that you can just put in your yard. It's already made to do the work, and all you have to do is turn the nozzle and get your honey without disturbing the bees and all that. And I'll be sharing that in the Patreon so for anybody that's interested. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I want me some honey. I'm tired of buying honey. Honey is expensive
It
if
is
you buy.
expensive.
Yeah, Manuka honey is very expensive, and so I'm just trying to get there. I want this all up and running to the point where everything is put in place and it just works itself. And so
Mm.
that's what I have going on. Don't forget to follow me on social media or subscribe, whatever the lingo is on that platform. I am Styles by Nina and Katie's Alchemy on Twitter, Katie's Alchemy on Facebook, and Katie's Alchemy and Styles by Nina on Instagram. And so don't forget to show love, y'all. If y'all participate in book club and y'all get anything out of it, feel free to share it. Share it on your social media so we can get some more healing going on with other people, not just us every Sunday. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And so chapter 8 is what we're getting into tonight. Ooh, and we didn't go on the pre-read this week. And so you all are going to get live shock factor. The shock factor is real. Um,
Very real.
we are reading 1 trillion fake orgasms.
Well,
Are y'all ready?
I don't know, Nita. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready.
Right. It's like, how
Mm.
many can you fake? And let me find out everybody faking them. Okay.
Boo boo.
I'm looking for the link, y'all. Go ahead and share the link while we pausing for a second. Let's get some more people in here. I know it's late, but on Sunday everybody's home. So, and look, Jennifer, I can't even find. I mean, Jenny Marie, I can't
What
find
link you looking for?
the link. You look, you know, I be totally out of it. The link on my phone would be maybe on the videos. Let me see. Nope. Let's see. No. You want to go on and pull on the card? We got.
Oh yes, okay. So I have this deck called the Wisdom of the Shadow. It's an oracle deck for self-discovery, soul work, and transformation. And just thought maybe we could get some wisdom from our shadow self,
Right.
right? Let me do my little shuffle here. The card here is resilience. Resilience. Let's see. And the art of resilience is a healing heart. I am resilient. I am I am buoyant and bounce back. Whatever life hands me, I will be refined by it. Heart cracked open, healing, spacious, releasing, rays of light through each break, layers upon layers, radiating outward and inward, earthen and alive, growing new membranes, building and rebuilding more pieces to love. We grow more resilient by being put to life's tests and challenges while refining our ability to adapt, recover, cope, and remain balanced. We don't do this by a magical wave of a wand. We do this by going through the difficult experiences and coming out the other side with practical wisdom that is gained only by living through it. Each and every trauma, tragedy, threat, stressor we have experienced has taught us how to be with that energy and survive or even thrive. When we know this, we can receive anything that comes our way with the knowing and remembering that not only can we handle it, we can receive it as much as a teacher and invite it to refine us rather than define us. To know our own resilience gives us a superpower armor of bring it on and I've got this. And I trust in my ability to bounce back. Holding a knowing of resilience can allow us to see challenge as an opportunity for growth. It is important to hold awareness of all the resilience we already have, thanks to all adversities we've experienced. Think about the challenges that have made you stronger, capable, more fearless, and ready to face the world. Think about someone who you perceive as resilient and what traits you feel express and radiate that quality. How interesting. Like you're at an Aries season, like we just tap into that warrior
Right,
resilient spirit.
right.
And with that, I am encouraged to go through this chapter with you, Nina. Let's do this.
Okay.
I'm
We gonna do it, all right.
oh,
Listen, y'all, tonight we are going in without any armor or protection because usually we have the pre-read to where if we are shocked or appalled, we can get through it, and then by the time we get to y'all on Sunday, we know you already felt that thing, right? But not tonight.
not tonight. We're gonna hold the space here for each other, right?
Right. And then you want to talk about last week before we get into that. Brother Uno, shout out to you, Brother Uno, if you up in here. But we didn't have time to really conversate a lot with you. And so we just wanted to address a couple of the things that you shared with us on last week.
Yeah, I don't even know that there's anything to address. First and foremost, gratitude for coming on, Brother Uno, and sharing your perspective.
Right.
It was definitely insightful. Um, I think I went away thinking about how how would I feel if I was if I was his wife, like if I was listening to that,
Mm-hmm.
would I be cool with that?
Mm-hmm.
And some of it, yes, and some of it, no. But at the end of the day, everybody is on their own journey with their own experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I mean, unless there's something you wanna pinpoint
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get on my brother
specifically.
ass. Okay. So my brother, you can't be just using the word fat all willy-nilly. It's just not a kind word, and as women we already kind of obsessed over the weight, and so fat just don't describe it. Now you both have grown older and you got thicker over time, or what we call joy weight. When you in a relationship
Mm.
or a marriage and you gain that little weight because you happy weight, just something other than fat. And also, brother Uno, don't be burying people clothes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
Listen, Uno, you cannot just be taking people's stuff and hiding it, okay? We you know this coming from my heart. But listen, if I'm looking for an outfit and I find out it's buried, I'm gonna be very mad, okay? But I think that was it. The outfit
Mhm.
and then the fat. Yeah. Fat is just not thick. Down south, we use country thick. I'm country thick, okay? We all from the country and we like eating. And so that's how we
Mhm.
describe it. And down south is not even a thing, honestly.
Mhm.
Everybody thick down south. I don't know about nowhere else, but that's just not how we describe how we dealing. And so I think that was it, brother Uno. But we didn't want to get into it because it was already 3 hours in. And so when we went back and played it back, it's like, ugh, well, we don't want people to think that we think it's okay to call women to use fat when you're describing, especially your wife. I hope that she don't see the video because it is up there. It's there to stay. It took us a long time to get through chapter 7. It was kind of long, and so it's there. But we do appreciate you dropping because you're the only person that has hopped on, and so we did appreciate that very much. We are in what, chapter 10?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so yeah, that was the first person who got on. So shout out to you. The platform is open to
Yeah.
anybody that wants to join and, you know, jump on and have something to say, or just to go through the whatever we're talking about in the book.
Yeah. I just dropped the link in the comments section, so y'all hop on in.
Okay, so we're gonna get started because it
Amen.
is 20 pages. We're gonna do 10 and 10. And
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We are on page 110, chapter 8, 1 trillion faked orgasms. The sexual dark ages is the topic of this section. And here are the facts. Most adult males cannot achieve an orgasm on a regular basis from vaginal penetration. A larger percentage of women are able to achieve orgasm with a man through clitoral stimulation. Most women are able to achieve orgasm through self stimulation, especially with artificial devices. And that's what Brother Uno was pointing out too last week. He was saying, how can you make something better if you are using a substitute and then, you get used to that substitute, right? Let me pull the mic so I'm not bending. Okay. And in the absence of fulfillment, billions of women fake orgasms. The billions of orgasms fake each year are the logical outcome of the lie we keep telling ourselves. We settle for the same old life. We focus the blame on the last partner we had or the flaws we see in our neighbors. But society itself, let me clear my, hold on. Okay. But society itself has a cancer and we need to face it. When it comes to sex, our society is still deep in a very primitive dark age. Looking at television or the magazines or the internet, one would think that just the opposite was true. For images of sexual promise are everywhere. It is a facade that hides the fact that sexual anorexia is the reality most men and women are living every day. The reality is that each year, billions of women fake hundreds of billions of orgasms in the modern world. There is the mistaken notion that the current mass obsession with anything sexual is a result of moral decay. Most people are suffering daily from a form of sexual anorexia, and in their desperation to correct the deficit, morals and decency have been abandoned. Dang. Basically, we have declined to the point that the sex most people are having amounts to little more than masturbation with a partner. It reflects the emptiness of our relationships. It reflects our disdain of the natural life. We invest so much time and money on fancy homes, cars, televisions, cell phones, and gadgets, but not a dime on a book, a seminar, or a self help program. We are in a serious crisis. The divorce rate, prison population, and domestic violence are all off the chain. And we sit around as if we are on holiday. Well, you get what you pay for. Buy trash, get trash. The picture we painted of a natural and full sexual life in the last chapter may seem unattainable to many, but it is not. In the regimen that the coaches can infuse the catalyst into your subconscious mind, and you will enter the phase we call the second puberty, where transformation is possible. This is the easy part. The hard part is to repair the conflict and bad blood between the sexes. It goes back generations. The hard part is not to let the negative inertia of the past drag you down into negative thinking and self defeating actions. The only thing standing in the way of your sexual abundance is yourself and the bitter, dysfunctional, undeveloped males you must relate to. For the men out there are just as abstinent or obstinate as the women are. The men are also their own worst enemy. As stated previously, most females enter adulthood with only a partial development of their feminine energy. As their master feminine faculties shut down early, as their master feminine faculties shut down early, they enter into adulthood with a disposition to rely on one type of feminine energy instead of having the use of all four, as they should. And then between the ages of 21 and 25, females enter a zone in which their worldview is dominated by one of four archetypes. And so it's saying here that being that we're only coming online with one, and then by the time you hit 21 and 25, that that one dominates everything. So your view is off. Now, the elegant roles, they are driven by a worldview defined by pleasure and sensory experience. Life to them is like a game show. They want to have fun and be festive. They are looking for Mr. Goodbar. So funny. Mr. Goodbar, right? The treasure chest, they are driven by a worldview defined by money and status, and life to them is like a treasure hunt. The career is important, social standing is important. They may take the option of acculturated prostitution. The moon archetype, they are driven by a worldview defined by feelings and emotions. They are humanitarian. They care about people. They earnestly desire to become mothers, but often the husband takes a back seat to the family issues. And the seated hawk, they are driven by a worldview defined by control. Life to them is a contest or race, and they seek competition. They view peers and even males as adversaries. They seek some occupation or avenue which gives them an advantage over the other women. Give them an advantage over other women. They desire to be the queen bee. How many queen bees do you know? Like,
I've dabbled in some queen bee before. Not I wouldn't say it was a dominant archetype though,
right.
but
But that's what's being promoted. And so for a
mhm,
while, that was the goal. For a lot of us, I say,
still.
yeah, it's definitely being promoted. I saw relationship. I watch relationship shows, y'all, and so they have love and hip hop marriage boot camp. And one of the things, Gangsta Boo. Now I'm in shock, y'all. Don't judge me. Gangsta Boo on there talking about she the queen bee.
Oh.
Yeah. So we see this demonstrated in the world around us a lot.
Mm.
Now, if the hawk then she tends to be controlling and right brain centered. Relationships are a contest to her and she plays to win. If the moon, she abandons the husband in favor of the kids. Ooh, home and community causes. If the treasure chest, she is the acculturated prostitute looking for money and rank in exchange for sex. And if the rose, she is looking for Mr. Goodbar. Relationships are a game and she is trying to get as much satisfaction as she can. How many of y'all out there look out here looking for Mr. Goodbar? That is deep. I'm just like, okay, and I know women that do take on kids and then they do forget about their husbands. And so all this is
Mhm.
a good example. We can look around and we know a couple of people. Now, looking at, she says she's trying to get as much satisfaction as she can. Now, it is easy to see this dynamic in other women, And when we get to the discussion of men in a future chapter, you will recognize their archetypes with ease. But you can see, but can you see this dynamic in yourself? Absolutely. That is what is important. This is where the healing begins. Can you look at yourself honestly and see your possible shortcomings? Now, but even with your shortcomings, you desire to love and be loved, do you not? Well, men are the same. There are four archetypes of men, and their masculine faculty shuts down early too. Okay, so and they have the same issues as you, but in reverse. So don't they deserve an opportunity to grow it out or to grow out of it? And y'all, we be so petty with the men. I ain't even gonna lie. I mean, woo, if he seemed like he immature, we are gonna point it out every 3 seconds. Listen, every 3 seconds of the day, we got something to say. And it says that he is going through the same issues, but just in reverse. And so, doesn't he deserve an opportunity to grow out of it too? Wow, or to grow out of it. Now, the regimens will work, but after the woman remakes herself and becomes this sexual powerhouse, she still needs a man to make it all worthwhile. Getting men to support you and go along with the program can be a beast. In the last chapter, we get into that subject. We talk about the male energy and how men feel and react to stuff. So in this chapter, we got to get you ready for the man thing. You got to shift from the fake your orgasm thing to swaying your man to bring it right thing. This chapter is a little on the heavy side. I could just feel it, honey. I'm getting bumps, bubbles in my guts. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. He said that this chapter is a little on the heavy side. It can be a little depressing to talk about some of this stuff. Faking orgasms is no joke if it is you. I am not trying to depress you or make light of the pain that goes with that. Having coached many men and women with these type of issues and worse, I can attest to the pain they feel every day. But hopefully the case studies and commentary in this chapter will bring you one step closer to your solution. Are y'all ready? Let me take a sip of my wine, and I ain't ready. I ain't gonna... Mm-mm. Brother Uno said he is Mr. Goodbar. Come through. Shout out to your wife, okay? Child, and the orgasms being fake are real. We laugh about this on Wednesday night pre-read because it happens. Um, and I ain't gonna say who said it. One of the young ladies was saying, if the lights are on and she gotta fake it just to be done with it, she gonna go all out. She said she going for Oscar worthy, okay? And it's real. It is.
It's very real.
Okay. So we're gonna get into life episode. The young lady's name is Keisha. Now, at the age of 13, Keisha already had the body of a grown woman. Is Keisha me? See what I'm saying? Hold on. At the age of 13, Keisha already had the body of a grown woman. She had all the curves and the look that men like. Her master feminine faculty brought her to elegant rose archetype online. Oh, her master feminine faculty brought her elegant rose archetype online early. Keisha went over to visit her aunt who was having a cookout. Marvin was there, a young man from next door that Keisha had known for years. Marvin was a group, or Marvin was with a group of young men sitting around the table playing cards. Keisha came over to the table filled with young men and sat in Marvin's lap. She wanted to hear what the men were talking about. Since she was 5 years old, she used to sit on his lap doing card games and play his hand. But this was the first time she sat on his lap since her body had filled out so. The young men there took note of her appeal in a joking way, but Marvin did not seem to mind, and Keisha focused on the cards being dealt to her. At first, Keisha was playful and teasing, but after a few minutes in his lap, she became aroused. Marvin's body was well developed, his six pack was showing. Keisha was getting more and more aroused, but she kept up a poker face. She had very few opportunities to sit in a man's lap at home, and she was going to take full advantage of this one. But after 15 minutes on his lap, Keisha had a quiet but intense orgasm. Her first. She excused herself from the card game as discreetly as she could and went upstairs to her cousin's room to regroup. She was shocked, confused, and ashamed, and she did not understand what had happened. Her mother had told her nothing of sex or reproductive function. Keisha's elegant rose archetype was developing fast. It was not just her body which was developing, but she was becoming more responsive to many sensations. Her pleasure faculty inside had become active. Immediately, Keisha started to learn as much about sex as she could. Keisha had her first sexual experience with a boy at 14, about a year after the incident at the card game. Her first sexual experience was very intense for Keisha, physically and emotionally. She remembers that before the act, she was more concerned about pleasing the boy than being satisfied herself, but the feelings were so intense that she got caught up and forgot everything else. Her climax was a series of intense, throbbing spasms, and Keisha's mother was strict. And during her early teens, Keisha did not have many opportunities to be alone with males. But when Keisha was with a boy, it was always intense, wild, and satisfying. She soon discovered that it did not seem to matter much what the boy did. Honey, the turning point.
Girl.
The turning point. At 16, Keisha had a fully developed body and her sexual programs were mature. Her elegant rose was online in a significant way. Her master feminine faculty had activated early. But as with most girls, it would not stay active long. It was very important to Keisha to be seen as being popular and attractive. At 16, she was described by the boys as being hot. But even so, her self-esteem was low. But even so, her self-esteem was low. Keisha was subjected to a constant barrage of criticisms from her mother and older females. She was criticized for dressing too provocatively. She was warned not to get pregnant. Ooh, Keisha is me, honey. The haters, they were, I mean, as a teenager, ain't nothing worse than older women being disparaging to younger women. And mama, I love you if you on here. I do, but I have to speak. I remember I used to be told that I'm gonna end up pregnant. Yeah. Cause I was shaped like a fully grown woman. And so it wasn't just my mom be, aunts. You know how people are. And so definitely, let me see, okay. Now she was described as hot, right? But even so, her self esteem was low. Keisha was subjected to a constant barrage of criticism from her mother and older females. She was criticized for dressing too provocatively, and she was warned not to get pregnant. The women advised Keisha to hold men in low regard, and they warned Keisha that males would only hurt her and disappoint her. The boys her age seemed very immature and rude. She desired an older man. Her opportunity came when she stole into a party attended by many older boys and young men. She had stashed a change of clothes with her girlfriend and went to the party dressed in a very provocative outfit that her mother certainly would not have approved of. She was only at the party a short time when she was out on the dance floor grinding on one of the young men to a reggae tune. After dancing a while, he lured Keisha upstairs to share a beverage, but upstairs he cornered her in a bedroom and forced her. She did not resist much. She tried to yell out and he struck her. She finally gave in to him in the hopes that it would all be over quick. Nor did she tell anyone about it. She was so ashamed and she blamed herself based on the warnings her mother had given her. This was the turning point. Keisha's master feminine faculty went into a holding pattern. It took her 2 years to get over this, and Keisha had no relations with a man for 2 years. But at 18, she fell in love and became sexually active again. At 19, she became pregnant and moved in with the young man. She hoped one day to marry him, but the pressure was too much for the man and he bailed out of the relationship, leaving her alone. She lost the baby in the fourth month, and by now her master feminine faculty was completely shut down. From 16 to 19, the social forces mounted many pressures to oppress her sexuality. By 19, her feminine development stopped. And from this point on, Keisha started to go the other way, meaning she was becoming more yang and masculine. By the time she was 23, Keisha was confused and depressed. She did not trust men anymore and she was no longer interested in pleasing them. She hated the constant pressure from men to have sex. And to her dismay, she discovered that it was no longer easy for her to have an orgasm. This was in sharp contrast to the throbbing multiple orgasms she used to have in her early teen years. Keisha started developing her elegant roles, but her development of that archetype ended at the age of 16, and at 19, she shut down her entire masculine feminine faculty. And though Keisha could not reverse her looks, she had suppressed almost all the other effects of the energy in her spirit. Ooh, dang, that was horrible. Okay, so Keisha was definitely parts of me as well,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like wow, even the miscarriage part, shutting down, it blew my mind. Okay, I had to take a sip, y'all. Now, Keisha was very hard to read, I'll say. And then just being out there, I always knew I would have an older husband because dating coming up, I did like older guys. And so
Mm-hmm.
in that, um, I had a 12th grade boyfriend coming into high school. Okay. And so all that. Did you want to speak on Keisha?
Um, yeah, so this was highly relatable down to being told that I would get pregnant and um not necessarily from the women in my family, but I definitely got the wanting to be attractive, and I too had I I attracted older men or older boys. So
Mm-hmm.
even from, I think, like my freshman year of high school, I was asked to prom by like seniors and um so, and I ended up getting into a very similar situation with someone who was older than me, and I think I probably shut the faculty all the way down. So yeah,
Yeah.
because this is like right around the age, right, based on what we've been reading, where the elegant rose kind of starts to activate around 14 to 16.
Mm. Yeah, it's a tough
Yeah.
age because I remember being criticized highly. No offense, mom, if you're here. Love you. But this is so true. The
Mm.
older women were very cruel. And because I've always been a person that's gonna do what I want to do, I was working. I had a full-time job in high school. Um,
Yeah.
and so my aunt would say little stuff too. And I remember they used to, oh, she grown. You know what I'm saying? Just,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, I am, but it's just disparaging. When you're coming up, you expect to be embraced. And so when you're met with anything other than that, it kind of sets the tone for your relationship with women too. And so, yeah, all that. Keisha is deep. Okay, so we moving forward, y'all. We hoping it's gonna lighten the mood, but it might not. Stop sabotaging yourself with anger or fear. There are two postures or mindsets that prevent the average woman from reaching the upper levels of sexual intensity and orgasmic pleasure. In the presence of either of these dynamics, her master feminine faculty is hindered and may shut down. Yeah, I ate some couscous and it is just, I don't know. I'm feeling like digestive issues. Bear with me, okay? Okay. Now, she refuses to allow herself the full sensation of pleasure due to an internal fear. Did I skip anything? Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't think so.
This fear is associated with either sin or a feeling of being unworthy. She is never pretty enough, righteous enough, or virtuous enough to deserve pleasure, or sexual pleasure is something sinful and she cannot enjoy it directly. Ooh, okay. We're gonna talk about it, y'all. In the second case, the woman harbors a deep resentment and anger toward men in general, and she refuses to allow the energy to flow because of this great anger. Okay, we gotta digest that.
Right.
I ain't even got on no turtleneck. I feel like my shirt got tight around my neck. Listen, all right. So in the first case, she is refusing to allow herself the full sensation of pleasure due to an internal fear. This book better get out my business. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm moving on. Most women today are very much against either giving sexual pleasure or receiving sexual pleasure. It does not matter whether they are married, single, cute, or plain, or young or old, or old or young. The resistance is there. And it makes me think about your face when you was reading that your job is to be a pleasure generator when we did the private read. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to the Macmillan family, y'all. I mean, they are all in this book. It's so good. I love to see the sisters interact and all that. And so I remember your sister laughing at you because you was like, mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Right. You was like, Okay, so the second thing is she harbors a deep resentment and anger towards men in general. I'm gonna move on for I got tears for that was deep. Most women today are much against either giving sexual pleasure or receiving sexual pleasure. It does not matter whether they are married, single, cute, or plain, old or young. The resistance is there. It is deeply subliminal and internal. They are not completely conscious of this posture. In their mind, they want sexual pleasure and joy, but under the surface, in her subconscious, she has erected these blocks to her energy. She cannot stop it until she recognizes that she is doing it. The typical woman will undermine her pleasure more than support it. When I have been successful at getting a woman to release just one of these breaks or blocks. While she is in the second puberty phase, she immediately experiences an elevation in her sexual energy level that is noticeable. The very next time she is intimate, she feels the fire a little hotter. Let us return to the discussion of the three main events in a female's life which shape and determine her energy body. Event number one is the childhood relationship with her father. Ooh, listen, let me highlight this. I'm at a deficit already, okay? Okay. So, the relationship with her father from 2 to 7, and I did have an awesome stepfather, but he didn't arrive in between those ages, right?
So he came after.
Well, let me take that back. I came after. I didn't realize he was an excellent stepfather. I was still rebelling because I wanted my real father to be there. And so
Mhm.
it's still just like having a deficit.
Mhm.
So event number two is her womb imprint. She receives the energy signature of the first 2 or 3 men she had sex with. Okay. Event number three is the first puberty, specifically the time period during puberty when her masculine feminine faculty shut down prematurely. So if all this is you, then you starting out with a deficit when it comes to self-sabotaging. So we're gonna get into fear. Now, if the woman's counterfeit sexual posture is fear-based, then the brakes, blocks, and choke points were erected by her during these events above, either because of a fear of sin or a fear of low self-worth or a feeling of low self-worth. The first type is a fear issue and or a self-esteem issue. The fear is rooted in the religious doctrines of original sin. And baby, growing up in the church, it does a number on you. I don't know about the men because I'm not a man, but as a female, it was just that constant not feeling clean, not feeling good enough, sin. Now you gotta go to the altar. It was a hot mess. I used to be at the altar every Sunday, y'all. I got baptized so many times
Mhm.
because I just felt like I wasn't clean enough. I could never reach that perfection. And so this is
Mhm.
true. Let me see. With doctrines of sin. Okay. Common religious beliefs are based on doctrines created by man, which fully ignore natural law. It is a it is fear based on the false belief that all things sexual are sinful by nature. This strange notion that God's main role is to punish us is unnatural and perverted. They have it backwards. We are not born in sin. We are made from God and therefore are born divine. I'm going to say that again. It says that the strange notion that God's main role is to punish us is unnatural and perverted. They have it backwards. This is what we've been taught. We are not born in sin. We are made from God and therefore are born divine. We're born divine. We must choose a path of sin. We are not born damned. It is true that some people are born with obstructions from karma, but this is something they did, not God. Why do we wish to slander God like that? God is good. God creates us to be happy and to be vessels through which he, she, it can have experience. The concept that God can or will punish anybody or anything is flawed and ill conceived. Creation is perfect. There's no need for God to come back in after the fact and correct something. This is foolishness. The thought of a mind that has not evolved. If your child was young and immature and disobeyed one of your rules, would you punish them for the rest of their life? Then turn around and punish your grandchildren for what the mother did.
That punishment thing is very, very real. And
Woo.
I was constantly feeling like God was going to punish me for having a thought
Mhm.
or touching myself
Mhm.
or anything along the lines of exploring my sexuality,
Right.
the punishment. And the thing too about being punished for the rest of your life, like that's very real. And I would agree that that was something that I picked up in church for sure.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Never feeling. I'm talking about the unclean, y'all. I used to be in baths. I had so many poems. I wrote it. Just, I mean, not wrote it, but so many poems I wrote just in relation to not all the journals. Like I just got rid of a whole bunch of journals where I was on my spiritual path in the church and just reading what I was writing. It was like, dang, it was kind of like a cult. Like, why would you even?
Oh wow.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
never feeling clean enough. That was a constant thing growing up. And then if I made a mistake and what they say, had sexual whatever without being married.
Hmm.
So then you grow up pressuring the men. And if you thinking every man is the one, every man you're putting this same pressure on about being married.
Mm.
And the relationship would never work because there was a guilt with the sex if you weren't married. And so it is a flaw. It's very flawed.
Mm.
Okay. So Brother Uno said chapter 8 is deep. It is. The low self-esteem issue is rooted in the patriarchal nature of Western society. Men often still feel superior to women in many respects. A stay-at-home mother is less valuable than a working woman. Ooh, a female. Hold on, I'm making sure I ain't skip a word. A sexually expressive woman is a slut or bimbo. Right brain centered females who do not test well or exhibit left brain skills are considered dumb. These views are often expressed to the young girl right in her face by her father, brothers, or uncles. In her family, if her family was poor because the father was not around, she may feel second class. If the boys who had her first did not respect and treasure her afterwards, ooh, she may feel unwanted and confused. During puberty, there are any number of events that can crush a young girl's spirit. Most women do not have to look hard to see how events that occur in the three reference periods above can cause the program of fear to be implanted into her subconscious. And see, I don't be trying to share everything, but I'm gonna share. So with the orgasm, I can understand that fear based because if you were taught that all men cheat or are abusive or girl, you better not be depending on a man, he gonna run out. Whatever you was taught, it was like fear based. And so the thought of even being pleased is like a subconscious thing. You don't want to be pleased because then maybe you ain't gonna be able to see if something else is coming down the pipeline. And so this is horrible. Just girl, you gotta be depending on a man. You know how them older women used to be. Like to me, I always see
Mm.
women, and so it's just like whatever they were going through with their man, they would put it out there as if all men were this way. And so if you was to ever fall in love, you would still not be relaxed because you have been told by all these women in those formative years that they're all this certain way. Or
Mm.
yeah, it's crazy. So we're gonna go into anger. Do you have anything? You look at your face.
I have so many things, but I need to put them into words.
Your face just stressing me. It's been like that for 10 minutes. You like, It been like that since we talked about Keisha.
Y'all, Keisha got me, y'all. I look. You know what? Okay, so I didn't have women tell me about how not to trust men, but I did have men who told me about not trusting men.
Mm,
And like, oh, they're going to use you, and the one thing that was so confusing to me about that would be, well, but what about you? You're not those things. So how do I find you? How do I find somebody who's not gonna use me or take advantage of me? Like, what are the things to look for? And I
right.
think sometimes as parents, we can get very fearful of like everything that can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we end up preaching, like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
What should I do?
Mm-hmm.
What should I look for? What does the good version look like?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Pass the collection plate. That was a whole word that's a fact. And I catch myself doing it even with Pharaoh.
yeah.
Um, he told me the other day at the park. Yeah, he is funny. So I look over there and it looked like there's some conflict going on. So I'm like, hey, come here. And so he was like, yeah, mom, we finna have a boxing match. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. And look, I'm like, first of all, we didn't even taught you how to fight, okay? So I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. And then he was like, you man, you don't even believe me. You don't believe I can win. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Broke his heart.
So he walked off like kicking rocks at me. Because he said, I don't believe he can go out there and win the fight.
Oh.
And it just was, I just didn't think it was a good idea. But it is fear based. Because it's like if he felt like he was finna be in a boxing
Mhm.
and he was gonna win it, who am I to say, hey? I'm like, wait a minute. You kind of yellow. If something go wrong, we're gonna have to look at that for a little while, you know? And so it's just one of them things. But yeah, being taught, you got it from a man. I got it from a bunch of women.
Mm.
And I can't really pinpoint who said what, but it was there. It was definitely there. I can hear it to this day, like even a pregnant. I don't know what
Mm.
it is about a curvy girl that she automatically get deemed you gonna get pregnant. Like, who does?
Right. Meanwhile, I ain't seen a dick. I
Mm-hmm.
ain't. I haven't even kissed nobody.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, wait a minute. How we get to the? I don't even know. I don't even know what sex is.
Right,
How
right,
we get? How we get to the pregnancy part?
right. And so, little brother Uno, you want to step on in? I like your picture.
I'm just sitting back. I ain't saying that. I'm listening to y'all for now. I got some notes, but I'm chilling. All right.
Okay, okay.
I'm
I'm gonna
just
take you
listening.
out, and you let me know when you're ready.
I'm muting my mic. I'm just gonna mute my mic.
Okay, okay,
All right.
okay. So, anger. The second issue is internal anger. When we look deeper, we see that it is also a self entitlement. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Ego thing. The woman feels entitled to be angry at all men because of an ego issue she has. In the second case, the woman is angry at men arising from a great subliminal range fermenting just beneath her surface. This anger is not visible on the surface. She hides it beneath the smile she wears. Ooh, okay. Her anger results from some incident in the past, maybe the absence of her father, or some man touched her in a bad way, or rejection by boys in school when she was young, or some such thing. She refuses to allow the energy to flow because she has disdain and anger for men, and she does not wish to give them any pleasure. Her reaction in this way is driven by the little girl reflex and reflects immaturity. Her anger is expressed in a frigid temperament and resistant to being aroused or controlled by a man. Now we profile two types of women. One type restricts her pleasure because she feels fear and low self-esteem and low esteem. Now the second type of woman is angry and has negative intent. This is a bigger problem. In the case of a woman whose energy is blocked and choked by anger, the first step towards release is to address any issues with her father. Ooh, they gonna make me call my dad. I knew it. See, it gotta be go call your daddy. Let me call. Let me put that on my list of things to do. Okay. She will need to go back and come to grips with any issues of abandonment, incest, rejection, prison, child support, drug use, or divorce. Honey, they just don't read my life a little filth. Okay. Okay. She does not have to forgive her father, but she needs to do all she can to make peace with his past actions towards her. It is important that she do whatever is proper to have some level of a relationship with him. If she can do this without danger of abuse to herself, maybe just once a week, maybe just a once a week conversation, maybe all it takes to bring closure. Her goal is to connect to this male gender in general by closing out any ill feelings that she still any ill feelings she is still clinging to about him. Oh, okay. Honey. As with the other type, she should bring up this subject in awakening circle sessions. I am done. They done told me to call my daddy. I gotta come to terms. Hey, they sad just the grudge holder. We ain't gonna never forget. Okay. We'll move on. We'll be cordial. But it's just like the side eye is permanent, okay?
Y'all be holding grudges like that?
Yeah, and we're able to still be in relation. It's nothing to us but the side eye on the inside be like it be real. And so I'm gonna call my daddy this week, y'all. This is just a mess. Okay, where am I reading to? Let me see how many pages.
I was thinking you could read to In Search of Good Pussy.
Oh, okay.
That
All right then. I had not even got to that point. Let me find it.
it's the very next page.
Okay, in search of good pussy. All right. Yeah, I don't talk like this. I've always been one very secretive and tried to be Christian like in my language. And so this book is even choking me up right here.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so young female indoctrination into negative pleasure culture. And this is on fear and anger. From the age of about 5 years young, girls are intentionally indoctrinated to prohibit them from giving sexual pleasure to men. In their youth, most girls are indoctrinated into a negative pleasure culture by parents, church, teachers, and older women. Let me listen. Y'all, we got to change when it comes to this new generation. We got to stop damning them and looking at them, judging them, because this is what a problem is. We shutting down their elegant roles early. Okay, the more physically attractive a young girl is, the more pressure she is subjected to. She is taught to view sex through a prism of fear and sin and entitlement. Young women need a lot of coaching from the mother in order to perfect a good sex life. What? It is not just a matter of dating. It is not enough for her just to take her panties off and do it. There is much more to it. Young females often think that if they are with a good looking, sexy man, then that is enough. It is not. And by the time they are 30, most women know better. Just at 30, that's a lot late. But by then the damage is done. Of course, young girls require a level of regulation in conduct, and I'm not advising when they should start sexual activity or under what circumstances, marriage or such. But there is a positive way to do this and a negative way, a positive way to do this and a negative and destructive way to do this. It is important that a young girl feel that parents and guardians are working to assist her in cultivating the attributes that will ensure her to have a quality sex life when the time comes. There is this perception that a young girl can generate pleasure without assistance, but they need help. And if this defines what your puberty was like, then you probably have some anger or fear left over from puberty. Okay. And so a man told a sad story at a workshop. He talked about losing the custody battle for his daughter. He wanted joint custody of his daughter. The mother won sole custody. The father was restricted to partial weekend visits by his daughter once or twice a month. The mother sometimes reduced the daughter's visit to one overnight per month. The father could do nothing against the power of the court. Over the years, he watched his daughter grow further apart from him emotionally, and her attitude grew more and more disdainful of men. The subtle influence of the bitter mother took its toll eventually, and by the age of 9, his daughter had negative opinions about men and disdain for them. She grew even disrespectful of him. The father reported that by 11, her current age, his daughter and her immediate girlfriends had become male bashing diva wannabes, scheming as to how to run games on boys. The mother did not see the danger in this and encouraged it. The father expressed his sincere sadness about the way his daughter had turned out and predicted the outcome of her early relationships with boys could be nothing but a disaster. He declared he would not wish to be one of the young men seeking to engage a young woman like his daughter in a relationship. He saw no hope for the next generation. If a young girl is already fully cynical, distrustful, and scheming at age 11 before she has even had a relationship, what hope could there be? Whew, this it is heavy. This chapter is heavy. Daddy and mama issues.
Hmm.
Okay. So, oh, Jennifer and Erica, how your name is
I don't
just
know. I end up reading about Jennifer's. This is the second one.
right?
Okay. In search of good pussy, living without love. Jennifer and Erica case study. In Search of Good Pussy was the title of a popular book by Don Spears in the 1970s. The book talks about how men search for sexual gratification to replace the love they are denied. In our story, David and Kenneth are both searching for good pussy. They are two men in their early 30s who claim to be just out looking for sex. But what each of them really wants is to be in a real relationship. Each of them has been hurt in the relationship game before. Kenneth had a nasty divorce. David had finally hooked up with a woman he thought he could get used to when she got a chance to land a part in a movie. A week later, she landed the small role in a big movie. And a week after that, she moved away. At first, David tried to hang in there with her, but her new career opportunities made her push David way down on the priority list. The distance between them and his loss of status was too much for him to bear, and he reluctantly ended the relationship he had such high hopes for. David and Kenneth were friends, and being mainly men, they felt obligated to always put up a masculine facade.
Mm.
To the world, they were just they were just two secure single guys out enjoying the dating scene, but they could see through each other's facade. But true to the code, they never spoke this truth. The book, In Search of Good Pussy, describes the social status of so many men today of all races. They are seeking gratification on a surface level to replace a deeper, more spiritual fulfillment that they have come to believe is out of their reach. They must keep up, they must keep up appearances. It would not do for other men or women to know how much they felt unfulfilled. David and Kenneth had jobs, drove decent cars, and had their own places. They were not losers. Kenneth was tall, about 180 pounds, trim and fit. On a scale of 1 to 10, he rates about a 6 to 7. He is considered select because of his job, and he owned his own house. He is classed by women as a masked man. David is tall, about 190 pounds of solid muscle. He played sports in college. On a scale of 1 to 10, he rates about an 8. He makes less money than Kenneth, but he is also considered select because women think he is very cute. He is classified in the category of Mr. Goodbar. Both men were relatively popular. They had opportunities to date available women, but both men felt that getting women to love them was a high risk, low reward venture. They knew their issues all too well. And why did they have to go through that type of ordeal anyway? Be reminded of their issues. It was so much easier to just settle for sex. They considered themselves victims of the system. Women were to blame because the women they encountered had too many issues to love them. At least that was their side of it. Either the woman had too much baggage and it turned the men off, or the men had too much baggage to commit and the women cut it short. And once in a while, they ran into their greatest fear: the female player. A woman with no heart was their label. Basically, a woman with the same dating philosophy as them. The worst blow to their pride came from women who just used them and then lost interest for no reason. It was okay to be dismissed for failure to commit or not calling enough, but it was tragic and unseemingly just to get dismissed for no reason. What Kenneth and David failed to consider was that the men of their father's generation were responsible for shaping the attitudes of their female peers into what it had become. And David and Kenneth needed to take care, or they would turn out just like their fathers. So many males from that generation got divorced and spent the better part of their life looking for good pussy. They prematurely gave up on their quest for love, and in the process ruined any chance they had ever and they had of ever really finding it, not just for them, but for their sons and daughters as well. By reducing the female to only a sexual object, they ensured that the next generation of men, their sons, would face a group of angry and fearful women. Wow.
Right.
Okay. Um in each episode, the women are slightly different, but they maintain the same archetype profile all through the book. David met Jennifer, and Kenneth had an encounter with Erica. That is where our little story begins. Jennifer and Erica do not know each other. Erica is governed by internal anger. Erica embodies the energy of the seated hawk. Erica is definitely looking for a husband. She is the queen bee looking for a good worker ant.
Mm.
Erica is governed by internal anger directed at men. Erica embodies the energy of the seated hawk. Erica is 32 and has no children. She has never been married. Erica is 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighs 142 pounds. She is cute, but she has not developed the curves and sexual presence to match Jennifer. Plus, she dresses as a shield to block, not attract. Her elegant rose is not developed much at all. She almost never wears high heels, while Jennifer has 24 pair. Her hair is plain, and she thinks showing too much cleavage is not classy. She prefers style and class and does not seek to project an erotic flair. Her broadcast is the positive aspect of the hawk, and men listen to her. Men follow her plan at work, in the neighborhood, and in her family. She is a leader, and other women look up to her. She has more male friends than female, and she bosses them around. It comes natural to her. Erica is bossy and sometimes even controlling. She has no trouble getting men to be friends with her, but finding a romantic partner is more difficult for her. Into her life has come a man to woo her. He is searching for good pussy. Kenneth is dating Erica, unsure of where the encounter will lead. Kenneth and Erica. Kenneth is very dissatisfied with his relationship history. For the most part, he has failed at relationships, and he tells himself that a serious relationship is not for him. His standard procedure is to just tell women what he thinks they desire to hear. He is not seriously invested in the outcome, having little hope that it can be positive. But deep inside, he hopes the next woman may somehow be different. He is doing everything to discourage a real relationship, but deep inside, he hopes in this he will fail. He and Erica have been dating for 3 weeks. It is still new. Erica leads a very externalized lifestyle. Her main focus is her job. The cultivation of her feminine energy is not a priority. Pleasing a man is not a priority. Really, she is mainly looking for a man to please her while she continues to pursue her career and life value objectives. With Kenneth, she decides to perform the old bait and switch routine. In the first week, she has been putting on a good acting job. She pretends during this time to broadcast the positive version of the elegant rose. She's been wearing more attractive attire, tight fitting outfits, low cut tops, etc. She almost put on high heels one evening. She pays attention to what perfume she has on. But Erica cannot hide her energy. She is not receptive, and acting feminine takes a great effort on her part because she is, in part, faking. After dating Erica for only 3 weeks, Kenneth starts to see signs of her issues behind the facade. Kenneth is always looking to detect a woman's issues. At the slightest hint of dysfunction, he puts her actions under a microscope and goes over and over the scenario with his buddy David to figure it out. Kenneth was very impressed with Erica at first. Erica had so many good things going on. She had a good job, no children, and she seemed to know where she was going in life. She showed maturity and in many ways demonstrated that she could compliment a man in many ways. On his second outing with Erica, he became concerned that Erica was just a little too serious. Just when they started to have fun and things were headed in the romantic direction, Erica would change the mood and start to ask Kenneth a lot of questions about some serious topic. On the third date, Kenneth noticed that Erica got very upset at their waitress over a small matter. The waitress was cute, and Kenneth made it a point not to even look at her. But Erica still seemed overly annoyed at the girl for no reason. A red flag went up in Kenneth's brain. He and David talked about the waitress thing for half an hour. It did not take long before Kenneth saw glimpses of the regular Erica. Behind her smile, Erica is angry. Kenneth also noticed that Erica was a bit controlling. In the fourth week, Erica got a call from her half sister. It was about her father, and the call really upset Erica. When Kenneth asked Erica about her father, she released a torrent of angry criticism of her dad. Apparently, he had not been there for her growing up, and now she resented him tremendously. Her dad had left her mom when Erica was 3, and he went to stay with another woman, the mother of Erica's half sister. But he did not stay with the second woman long before they too split up. The half sister was trying to patch things up between Erica and their common father, but Erica was not having it. Kenneth discovered that Erica had a lot of anger directed at a lot of people. She was angry at her boss, her dad, her ex-boyfriends, and her landlord. He and David had a second long conversation about Erica. Most men know that women with father issues usually give men a harder time. David advised Kenneth to cut his losses now and get out. But Kenneth decided to continue seeing Erica, but placed her on probation. The reaction of women to men in the bedroom does not hinge entirely on the male performance alone. Kenneth thought that he was fair to good in bed. He was good for 10 to 20 minutes most nights. When in bed with him, women were normally vocal and responsive. He was never sure who was faking it and who was not. Kenneth tried not to think about that. The woman brings something to the table that determines what the limits of her reaction are going to be. We can, for example, create a measurement of the sexual reaction of women to sex using a scale of 1 to 100. The highest rate of response is 100 points, the lowest rate of response being 1. Using this scale, Erica would grade only 18 points maximum. Erica did not have the rose energy active. Erica was in the group of women who are non-orgasmic. No matter what Kenneth does, Erica only has the capacity to respond so much. If Erica met the most attractive man alive, she would become very highly aroused, but sex still would not result in an orgasm. It was very frustrating. Erica was attracted to Kenneth. It was not that he had a cute face, but more his body and his manly ways. Kenneth had a deep voice and a manly posture, but she pretended that he did not move her at all. Erica did not dress seductively, and she was visibly uncomfortable in the romantic settings that Kenneth created. Kissing was awkward for her. Erica decided to sleep with Kenneth because she knew it was expected of her. She did not want to lose him to another woman. The night of their first sexual encounter came, and Erica was very nervous and anxious. She did not seduce Kenneth. She did not burn candles or put silk sheets on the bed. In her mind, she was doing Kenneth a big favor. She thought her role was just to take her clothes off and let him have her. There was not much reaction on her part. She enjoyed the sexual episode, but she did not have an orgasm or even lubricate much. Really, she did not become that aroused, but this was normal for Erica. Erica did not feel much in the sexual department until the man made some emotional investment in her. Of course, after all that waiting, the event was a big letdown for Kenneth. Kenneth thought he was good in bed. At least the reaction of other women to him was a lot more intense. Erica barely made any noise. Kenneth was very disappointed, to put it mildly. He debated with himself for 2 days if he could continue the relationship. He decided to continue, hoping she would warm up in time. Erica was on pins and needles for 2 days, waiting for him to call after that first night. Finally, on the third day, Kenneth called her, but his tone was different. Of course, Erica's girlfriends told her to heat things up a little, so she invited Kenneth to go dancing, and Erica put on a dress, and she allowed Kenneth to have sex again and threw herself into a little more this time. Oh, she threw herself into it a little more this time. Erica even faked an orgasm this time, like her girlfriends told her to do. Now that Erica was intimate with Kenneth, the clock was now ticking. Since she had given him some, it was time for his behavior to change. In her mind, Erica had a list of stuff that Kenneth was supposed to do now, but she never made Kenneth aware of any of it. There were definite rules, but men do not always know when these rules apply, and it is now, at this point, that the relationship began to unravel. It is now at this point that the error of communication took place. It is now at this point that intervention and bridge building was necessary. But Erica was stuck in the dark age programming.
Ooh, honey.
Look,
What do you think?
this is just so it that whole part about the I don't know, just the disconnect off the top. And why are they still continuing? That's another thing. Like, how many times, how many relationships have y'all been in where you already know it's off,
Mm-hmm.
but you just hope that they're going to change
Mm-hmm.
and hope it's going to get better? I'm going to put them on a probationary period. And meanwhile, faking orgasms, nothing is enjoyable.
It was a fake orgasm for me because number one, shout out to my friends. Nobody's gonna advise me to put on a fake orgasm. Erica is tripping. Ain't
Yeah, I
no
don't know
way.
that I've been advised to fake. I don't know that I had to be advised to fake an orgasm.
Right.
That makes
I
sense.
think I have faked the orgasm.
That has definitely,
Nobody advised me though.
you
It's
know.
like because at this point at 40, yeah, I know at 40 you start aging in reverse. And so all those misdirected things that weren't in alignment, we're gonna line those things back up. And so ain't no way. And then she faked it instead of just trying to focus to actually have one. And so that's a disconnect too.
Well, yeah, because she really doesn't like him like that. She just doesn't want anybody else to have him.
Mm.
That's what I gather. It's like he not your type, you know it, but you can't have nobody else. And isn't that like a negative broadcast for the seated hawk, that competition
Hmm.
thing?
Yep. Not valuing men or thinking I know a person, no, not that does think that every man is in competition with her or trying to come between her and her children. And it's
Mm,
like it's made up in your mind, girl. What man is coming in and they're trying to compete with you? You will want him to get to know your children, right? And so, yeah,
mm.
it's this
Okay.
is real, yeah.
So the crossroads point. This is the crossroads point. Eric, Erica, and Kenneth reached it. At this point, the relationship still had a chance to be saved. If the correct actions were taken now, they could both end up with what they wanted. The first time a couple is intimate is sometimes the crossroads point, or maybe it is the first time you meet his family. The crossroads point is when the dynamics of a new relationship start to shift. It is when one party in the union changes course. Okay, it is when one party in the union changes course. It is that critical point in the relationship when your issues surface and either the man reacts or you react. Status. After the first time, Kenneth was disappointed with the sex. Erica was already on probation, but Erica still had many good qualities that mattered. Kenneth still wanted the relationship. He had hopes that the sex thing might improve. Up to this point, Erica is feeling Kenneth, but she does not have the elegant rose, and her negative pleasure broadcast is killing her standing. Okay, so she does like him. She just doesn't know how to show it. Okay, well, I stand corrected because I was like, I don't think she likes him.
Right.
All right. So she doesn't have the elegant rose, and her negative pleasure broadcast is killing her standing. But she is not really hosting any real communication with Kenneth. It is all a facade. She's so focused on what her girls say that she's missing all the negative signals from Kenneth. Erica is ready to move forward. Kenneth is starting to pull back. Erica felt that since she was now sleeping with Kenneth, the clock was now ticking. In
Mm-hmm.
her playbook, Kenneth now had 3 months to get serious with her. And from that point, she felt she had the right to intrude on his privacy. She checked out his credit report. She gradually exerted herself into other aspects of his life. And more, Kenneth saw Erica display her anger, jealousy, and tension to the people around her. But in her distraction, she neglected to address the basic stuff. Erica never put her cards on the table with Kenneth about her issues with men. If she gave him the real history about why she was so angry, maybe he could understand. Then tell him that she would never direct her anger at him. Ask him to help her heal this place in her heart. This would have pulled the male into the issue with a positive spin. And Erica needed to get real with Kenneth about the sex. She needs to know where she stands. Her negative performance was not the issue. It was that she did not even see it as a problem. If she just made it clear his satisfaction was a priority, she would have been okay. On the other side, Kenneth had not fully brought his masculine energy online. Therefore, he would not stand up straight. He is not about to expose his emotions. But if Erica were to meet him halfway, he would do the right thing by Erica. But Kenneth has lost faith and pulled back in general from women. He felt it was just a matter of time before he would be in her crosshairs. But he still wanted a relationship with her. The clock was ticking for Erica. 3 months after they became intimate, she demanded that Kenneth make a decision about where their relationship was going. Kenneth was waiting to see changes in Erica that never came. When Kenneth failed to give the right answer, Erica fired him, ending the relationship. She spoke to him one last time in which she dismissed his objections and expressed her gross disappointment that he failed to take life and her more seriously. End of Erica and Kenneth. Hmm.
So she didn't let him know what the plan was, but just expected him to know after they slept together that he was supposed to be at that point at being a whole different person.
Yeah, I think the issue was that there wasn't any communication. I don't know that Kenneth was aware of this 3-month plan
Right,
until she was demanding. And at that point, ain't no, ain't, we're not going to demand nothing now.
right,
I, I would be closed off to it.
right.
So, okay. So let's hear about Jennifer and David. Jennifer is governed by sexual fear. She embodies the energy of the elegant rose, but she does not yet have the other three archetypes to balance it out. Jennifer does not know exactly what she wants, but she means to have fun while finding it out. And she is not too concerned about who gets hurt in the process. In this episode, Jennifer is 30 years old. She has a very seductive shape. She weighs about 135 pounds and is 5 feet 7 inches tall. Jennifer wears things which are form fitting. She dresses as a magnet to attract. Even when she is not trying, she sends off erotic vibes. She is broadcasting the positive, elegant rose, and men pick up on this. She knows they all want her to have sex with her, but beyond that, she does not understand what motivates men. Life to her is like a game or show. She wants to enjoy this show, but a man has come into Jennifer's life who wants more than just games. On the surface, David is looking for good pussy. But what David really desires in his heart is to be loved and healed. Jennifer is too filled with fear to do either. Jennifer refused to go out with David at first, but after a while, she consented to go out with him. She told David not to get his expectations up, but the way she came across, she did not sound serious. It sounded like a standard line of hers. David was used to being around attractive women, and he had seen all the games. In his mind, he had no idea of what Jennifer's bottom line really was. He did not know if Jennifer was playing hard to get or if she was really aloft like that. This was part of the game that Jennifer liked, being chased, admired, flattered, and pampered. David's first goal was just to get in those panties. Jennifer had it going on. Without trying, the subtle little things she did turned him on. He kept up the chase. Jennifer decided in the first 5 minutes of their meeting how things were going to go. There might be some sex after a while, but nothing more. And David would have to put in his time before he was getting any of that. And David played her game, and soon he got his reward. One night during the week, Jennifer called him and announced she was coming over in a few minutes. She wanted to catch him off guard. When she arrived, Jennifer had on a long coat, but it was not that cold outside. Underneath her coat, she had nothing on but her panties, bra, and high heels. David's eyes were that big. His heart was pounding fast. David went to work the next day with a big smile plastered on his face. He felt that he had rocked Jennifer's world last night. He thought that now that he had rocked her world, she would stop playing hard to get. But he was wrong. His ego was fooling him. In fact, she did not rate his performance in bed with the top 10. Jennifer was just being Jennifer. Jennifer reacted wild and intensely with every man in bed. Women have a built in arousal program that determines their limit of response to men in general. Jennifer was just generally more responsive in bed. On the 1 to 100 scale, Jennifer would grade as 33 points. This is versus the 18 rating for Erica. Jennifer had not one but several orgasms with David. After her arrival, the two only made it as far as the kitchen before David had her pinned against the countertop. Before it was over, they had employed whipped cream and fruit from the fridge, and Jennifer ended up on the kitchen floor. Neither of them remembered how they got there. Of course, David did not keep his smile for long. They too had approached the relationship crossroads. After the wild episode in David's kitchen, Jennifer did not return his calls for a few days. It was her way to cool him off. She did not want him to get too invested. But when they did speak next, she was invasive in her responses. Jennifer liked David, but she had set boundaries on the relationship from the beginning. The strange thing was that David was starting to feel a thing for Jennifer that went beyond just a casual thing. He was starting to feel chemistry between them. They reached the crossroads, and it was from this point on that the arrangement between David and Jennifer began to unravel. It is here that communication failed. Right here, Jennifer had the power to ensure that the outcome of their encounter would be good, but Jennifer was stuck in the dark age programming. Crossroads point. At this point, the relationship still had a chance to be saved. David and Jennifer were compatible with each other, but Jennifer would not be ready for a serious long term relationship for 2 more years. She had some serious maturing to do. But in 2 years, when she finally realized that she wanted to get married, David was not going to be available anymore. And she would look at the other men and realize that he was the best candidate. The crossroads point is when the dynamics of a new relationship start to shift. It is when one party in the union changes course. Status. Jennifer was ready to pull back. She had set boundaries on the relationship. It was not part of her game plan now. David was starting to see something in Jennifer that he had not seen in a while. He was feeling a chemistry that he thought indicated some long term potential between him and her. He thought Jennifer was in the same place, but she was not. The best outcome for David and Jennifer was to remain in the relationship. It was time for David to get over his old hurt. It was time for Jennifer to get over her fears of intimacy and commitment. If she missed this opportunity with David, she was headed for an exciting encounter with the foreign diplomat and the sexually transmitted disease he was carrying. But Jennifer refused to be honest with David. When she saw him, she told him that she needed time to get used to her feelings. Jennifer did not know how to tell David that she did not consider him serious relationship material. Jennifer did not see a real future in it. Jennifer just wanted David to hit it once in a while. Had she been honest with him, he would have been okay with that. But by her not being truthful, she allowed David's feelings to grow. The relationship was getting more serious, and he wanted to take their relationship to a serious level. At first, Jennifer went along to avoid a confrontation, but the confrontation came anyway when Jennifer backed out of going with David to a formal black tie affair. And then Jennifer broke the affair off. She stopped returning his many calls. David did not understand. He and Kenneth debated what had happened until late into the night. David finally got the message and moved on. Jennifer thought she had done the right thing, but Jennifer's girlfriends reminded her that this was a pattern for her and pointed out that David was just the latest installment in an old cycle. They felt that there was nothing wrong with David, and Jennifer was just afraid of serious emotional involvement with any man. 1 year from that date, Jennifer received a call from the clinic. She had an STD. She had rolled the dice one time too many. End of Jennifer and David. Both Kenneth and David had been dumped by their girlfriends in the same month. They sat in the cafe on a Saturday morning, trying to make sense of it. This was getting old. The conversation went something like this. With these women, it's always something. If there's a way to mess it up, they will find it. I just still wonder what her real program was. All this time I thought she was moving in that direction, and now I realize I never really know what her thing was. I still don't know, man. History repeats itself. Did you really think things had changed? No, but actually, I was starting to get a little different vibe this time. It doesn't matter anyway. It may be all for the best. If they're going to sweat you and put you through changes like that, it's better to get out and in the open. It's better to get it out and in the open in the beginning. The things a man got to go through to get a little bit. Well, there's no sense in looking back. What is on the docket for tonight? More of the same, I guess. End of episode. So, what have we learned from Erica, Jennifer, Kenneth, and David? The message is learn to recognize when you reach a crossroads situation in a relationship or potential relationship. That is when one party starts to change course. At this junction, you should consider the following: get outside your box, think outside the box. Do not do the same old thing and expect a different outcome. Talk to a member of the opposite sex before you make a decision. Don't just depend on your girls for feedback. Get, expect help. Read a book, get expert help, I think is what it's supposed to say. Get expert help. Read a book, go to a workshop, hire a coach, or call an elder. Consider a change of course yourself to stay aligned to your mate. Think about the four world views. Life is a game show, a treasure hunt, a charity event, or a contest. Which one are you? What mistake are you likely to make? Which one is the man? What does it take to keep him in the game for a few more months? What would it take for him to develop more of his masculine energy during that time? Remember, you choose him. What was his intent toward you? Does his mistake indicate bad intent? Or is he just suffering from ignorance? Ignorance can be forgiven. Bad intent is a deal breaker. Most men start their adult life with only partial development. When they are in this phase, a man will not stand up straight in their relationships. Standing up straight is the mark of a fully masculine man. He is going to try to do right even when it hurts. Do not expect this level of honorable behavior from males who are not mature. If you are still acting like a little girl, do not expect the man who stands up straight to put up with you for long. The majority of young men are working through their own issues just like the young women are. It is not always that they intend harm, but often the woman is hurt as a casualty of their circumstances. For when a man encounters the deep seated anger we spoke of, often he just turns away inside. When a man confronts her deep seated fears, often he just turns away. Men can easily become bitter, cynical, and full of apathy. When they come to the crossroads, the weak man may just turn away. Only a fully masculine man will seek to work through the issue with you. Most are going to take the easiest way out. Men and women are born to complement each other. The natural way is perfect. Nothing else needs to be added to it. We need only to cultivate what is there. But each man and woman must choose to reject their history and be sexually reborn again. We must choose to leave the sexual dark age behind us. Nowhere is this more difficult to do than in our sexual life. But in his rush to obtain power, money, and social superiority, Western man has been eager to sacrifice the natural path. And this has plunged the modern world into the sexual dark age. The masses have chosen to abandon the natural path and the ancient and timeless wisdoms, and they have paid a steep price for doing so.
Woo! You say deep.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a mouthful. Um, I feel like we have persecuted our men over time according to what we're reading. Because again, we will be in our immaturity, but then feel like they're immature on some level and just keep hammering it in. I know that's me. So I own that. That's me. I am petty with the words. Listen. And so I don't know. What do you think? What you
I was
think,
just
brother?
looking at your comments. That every single man she has dated, she breaks it off because she thinks a man. Oh, you talking about your look?
From the beginning, I just want to say this chapter is really, really, really deep. um, Again, thank y'all for letting me come on. I want to start with Keisha and the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing with her from the beginning. With the lap, sitting on the lap thing,
Mm-hmm.
the neural erotic, like brotherly, you know what I'm saying, brotherly emotion when she sits on the lap of somebody she trusts, and then she get sexually aroused by that trust, and it's like it just that was a weird instinct of something happening between her. She's caught up in the emotional attachments, even though she didn't know that that's what she was caught up into, the lack of having something.
Mm-hmm.
The Was it the father issue? I think that was with Keisha, right? Keisha had the father issue.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so she has the father issue, and she get attached to other people, other men. So her sex is changing by her having having this erotic exchange by this person, and then realizing that she's capable of doing that, and then getting attached to having that feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And she not knowing what it is, but that's what she attached to, that same feeling. And so she's exposing it by people suppressing it, like the aunts and the her mom or whoever, whatever elder is suppressing the fact that she's having this sexual change. And then she's out in the world trying to make an exception of this sexual exchange that she's having, and then end up getting raped. That threw me off, because that part is something that women hold on to after the experience, and then they don't talk about it, and then that suppresses the orgasm. Because now, if you want to build a relationship, even though you might have a perfect person in your relationship, if you don't inquire your issues in the beginning, then that will block you from having these type of
Oh,
organic relationships. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that off top let me know any relationship from the beginning. I knew any relationship she has is going to be affected by her experience with bad experiences through the her being shapely. She's being shapely. She's being suppressed. Not, oh, you shouldn't be walking around like looking like this or whatever, because this is something in her. She can't change who she is. And then, you know, when she go out, she's still young. She don't realize that she's shapely. So then she's she's
Or
dancing
maybe
with
she
this guy.
does. Maybe she does realize.
Well, yeah,
Because I
yeah,
mean, I'm
maybe she
shapely.
does, but she doesn't know how it
Yeah.
attracts men in a certain
Mm-hmm.
type of manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this guy, she trusts in this guy,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing that he has alternate, intentions, and
Mm-hmm.
then he rapes her, right? And
Oh.
now she can't trust no man because she wasn't aware of her sexuality, her body, you know, her shapely body and all that. She wasn't aware of how that can play a part in, you know, these type of things that happen. Now, when she
Attracting
does
a
find
predator.
somebody, yeah, once she finds somebody or become in a relationship, now she has this bad experience, and that it tends to suppress her from having a great sexual experience. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that time when she was sitting on the lap, that was erotic too, but that wasn't based on sex. That was based on mental. You feel what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because she
Absolutely.
started sitting on the lap, she felt comfortable and all this different stuff, and she got aroused from that. So that was crazy. But
What do you think, Jennifer, about Keisha? We went over that one.
Um, so for Keisha, I kind of felt like she was aware, like her elegant rose was activated fairly early. And so the guy's lap, Marvin, when she sat, she was taken aback by the arousal that she received by sitting on his lap, something she had done many times before.
Mm-hmm.
But that particular time, it aroused her. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that stood out at that point was that she experienced shame. And she was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't, she was ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
And then to come on the other side of that shame were affirmations of negativity, right? Then she's got all of this negative stuff being fed into her by way of her elders, we'll call them.
Mm-hmm.
Then you fast forward to what, 16, when she was raped. This is yet another sexual experience. She was sexually active leading up to that point. She had had sex, but now she was just allowing it to happen because she just
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to be over with. And so she ends right back at that same place of feeling guilt
And
and
shame.
shame.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really the source of it all, right? It's like it's it's cool to, like it's normal, it's a natural law to feel aroused
Mm-hmm.
and to feel that. Um, but I think where she was lacking is the support or someone to reaffirm her that, like, yeah, like, to have those words that, yes,
That's
this is what
natural.
happens in our bodies. And
Mm-hmm.
this is, whatever wisdom to be poured into her and experience and knowledge that was lacking. And
Mm-hmm.
so she carried that shame. And I'm just a firm believer that you start, and it, Master Yao talks about this, your first three experiences, your first three sexual encounters, that is the broadcast that you
The
send
program.
out. So
Mm-hmm.
as she starts inheriting this shame, then that's what she's even, she starts calling to her.
That's deep.
yeah,
Um, and so that's a lot to
It is.
experience by the time you're like 16. It's like I want to shut this shit down. Let me
Mm-hmm.
let me
Mm-hmm.
give this a break. But
And I wanna just me and Keisha. I am Keisha. I remember and y'all, we promote healing. And so in the Cove, we had a couple of sessions where we were talking about shrooms used for healing, right? And so on one of my trips, I went back to a point in time where I was wearing tennis skirts, all the girly outfits. And all I could see in this trip was the print of the carpet in the arcade where I was molested. And so at that point, I felt like on that trip, I was with one of my best friends from childhood, and she wanted to go to Freaknik. That's something that was big in Atlanta. And so we were down there at the arcade. She liked video games and stuff. I was never into that. And there was this older guy, of course, working there. And I don't even know why we were there. I really don't. But he had some tennis skirts that he wanted us to try on. And I'm with my friend. And so he took her in the back. I don't know what happened between them, but I just remember on that mushroom trip, it took me back to that point in time.
Mm.
And so I just remember feeling guilt. I never said anything to anyone. And from that point, I did shut down my Elegant Rose. Like it was no longer attractive to me to be exposed if that's what I was going to attract. And so I just want to be vulnerable and be open because that's what the book's purpose is, to provide some sort of healing.
Yeah.
Just even having that in common with Keisha, I totally get it. You being somewhere where you feel like you shouldn't be, and then at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, well, if I go ahead, um my homegirl shared one of her stories via YouTube. Y'all go out and support Path 11 on YouTube. She shared her first couple of experiences because she is also participating with us reading the book. And she said it inspired her just to go back and talk about those things because us as women, we'll move forward and never talk about it. And so I never
Mm-hmm.
even discussed with my friend what happened when she went in the bag. We did not discuss it. We left and moved on.
Mm.
But it's just that point in time when we listening to Keisha's story, that's the story of many things happen. The Elegant Rose is important, but in the society that we live in, it sometimes does pull up those type of energies.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. And that's the thing about fear is it immobilizes, and fear, guilt, shame as a woman, those things can be just the most incredibly debilitating things, which is why to place that on us so early, yeah, it's no wonder why not a word is spoken.
mm-hmm.
We don't tell those stories
Uh,
because it rises though that it bring, like you was just talking about, Nina, it brings up those feelings of guilt and
Mm-hmm.
shame, and
Mm-hmm.
that dialogue that plays like,
Yep. Because I walked away from that experience feeling shame. It was
right.
like, just I could not even gather why I was there. I wasn't
Do,
into video games or none of that.
do
You said
you
what?
think that this is just me looking from the outside looking in? Do you think that a manly, if it was a man to give you some insight on situations where you might encounter these things, would the 6 degrees of separation change? You know what I'm saying? Like if that happened, if you had somebody kind of forewarn you, like situations where you might come into as being a woman, and coming into a situation like that, would it change your perspective and being aware of situations where you fall into those type of pockets of negativity? You know what I'm saying?
I do, because after that, I now can honestly say I have more male friends than I do female friends. And I do value the male input because I realized at some point me not having that resulted in relationship after relationship of the same thing. You're attracting the same thing because you don't have an insight on what that is supposed to look like. Even I even know people grew up in two-parent homes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer. You know, you one of those people where that still is lacking. Just what the direction, what does that relationship supposed to look like? What is healthy, whatever in the beginning? Those conversations never happen. And so yeah, I do think that if I had some type of insight, that maybe that would have been different how I felt about it and all that. But when it's not there, it's just you immediately go into shame or lack. On top of that, you growing up in the church. You know what I'm saying? So the shame was associated to what how I was dressing. Because according to the church, that's Jezebel's spirit anyway. So
Right.
it's just layers of trauma.
Yeah, with the church thing too, you know, women and men, when it comes to religion, women and men take religion in a different perspective.
Mhm.
Men don't, man creates do sin, but they don't wear it on their sleeve. As for women, you are more aware of your understanding through mental to have that on you all the time.
Mhm.
Um, like most of us, I grew up in the church as well. And even though I might commit a sin, I wouldn't go to church and think to repent or let the church know that I did a sin. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
For one, that's why it's more women in the church than men, because women feel like they have to get it out. That is the sanctuary where I can get my sins off my shoulders and get me to my healing process. For as
Mhm.
men, we'll carry that. We ain't gonna let nobody know. We don't want nobody to know that we did this or that or that. Um, so it's different when it comes to religion. You know what I'm saying? Now you do have some men that do are more aware, but most of those men are more on the on the such and such side of the game, where they more vulnerable to experience to be more presentable to a wide variety of people of what they're going through or what they have done. you
Mhm.
know. So that with that religion part, I felt like I never felt like I go to church and I pray at home before I tell the church what's going on. You feel what I'm saying?
And
Me,
meanwhile, I'm
me,
laying on the altar every Sunday and signing up for baptism every month.
and have the Holy Ghost. You got the Holy Ghost. I got you done got it off your shoulders. You done got it. So now you got the Holy Ghost. You done got it off of you,
I
and you
wore the
feel
same
bad.
outfit for baptism 4 times. I,
Man,
I still got my baptism robe here in my closet. Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That's just that part was just very, 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 very um even from a male's perspective looking at it, it's like that it's kind of a male flip flop. It's the
Mhm.
same. It's the same narrative, but it wouldn't have played out the way that it played. Like I don't like that rape thing. That's like really because I never can see a man doing anything like that. So
Mhm.
it's really eye opening when I hear these stories. I've heard them multiple times from different women, but that's like
Mm.
wow, men really do that stuff. Like that's
Mhm.
crazy. But then again, that is the narrative, and it's explaining how women can block themselves, you know, from the experiences that they had, and like you said, having the elegant rose, you trying to blossom, but then you have all these things that suppress that, that coming out of your flower and blossoming out. You know what I'm saying? And yo, that's like I said, this
Mm.
chapter was real dope, like deep too. You know what I'm saying? Um, the Eric and Kenneth thing,
Mhm.
you know, uh, where she's not trying to be that elegant rose. You know what I'm saying? She's got all these different things happening with her, and she wants to be, as far as I'm getting at, she wants to be with somebody, but she don't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? The proper way. You
Mhm.
feel me? And Kenneth, he wants to be in a relationship too. You know what I'm saying? But his fear is being, I think that he was fearing to be in a bad relationship, right? He's fearing to be in a bad relationship, and he was looking for some, you know what I'm saying? Some good, you know, he looking for the good stuff. But in the end, I feel like the story kind of flipped on him, and it kind of threw him off. And the same as for David too, as well. And David, being the advisor of the whole thing, he's trying to convince him that it's gonna work. Just stick with it. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's a chaotic experience. You know what I'm saying? And then himself falling into that same chaotic experience is deep. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, but the crazy thing is these two opposite types of women. You know what I'm saying? Where on the other hand, I would think David would be with Eric and Kenneth would be with Jennifer. You know what I'm saying? I was just listening to it. I'm like, wow, this is really, really, really unique. But
what do you think about Jennifer? I think that was Jennifer at the end who had got a STD from just being her elegant rose, just being off the meat rack every person
right,
she was with.
right. She just want to be the fun girl. You know what I'm saying? Even though she had the right guy, but in the beginning, you know, she's that elegant rose. She knows she's sexy. You know what I'm saying? She fine. She knows she's a magnet. She's
I don't know if
attractive.
she wanted to be a fun girl. It's just
Well, listen, from what I got from it, she playing games with David. She's
yeah,
playing the games with him, right? She
yeah.
don't, you know what I'm saying? She used him for her orgasms. You know what I'm saying? And then like when he gets serious with her, she like playing like don't answer his calls and come on. It's like what I got from that part of the story is the fact that it's a lot of women like Jennifer. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of women that don't really want a relationship with nobody. They just want to play the games because they know they're attractive that they can get certain attention. And they'll find a guy. Like I was just watching this like a podcast, and this chick said that she was on a date with a guy and the date went kind of left, but she was okay with it because she had another date planned afterwards. I'm like, what? So she planned 2 dates in 1 day. So this is the Jennifer type that I get. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, what you won't do, I get it from another person. You know what I'm saying? Even though, because I have the attraction to gain all these different men, and I can use a man based on my attributes. You know what I'm saying? And David was just looking for some good punani too, you know, but end up falling for her. You know what I'm saying? But he fell for her knowing that she knew that she didn't want a relationship from the get-go. But he ended up falling for her, and then she played into it instead of letting him know, like, yo, I really don't want to do this in a full-fledged relationship. I just want to keep it cordial and just have sex with you and use you for sex, right? Instead, she played mind games with him, thinking it was going to probably go further. So she would do like, you know, like she'll have sex with him and not be into the sex, and then when her friends convincing her to do otherwise, she goes out her way to trying to, you know, manipulate the situation by going to his house with a coat, with a, you know, being sexual with him and putting on a coat and going to the house and all that stuff. Like you know what that's gonna do to a man when you do that type of stuff, and then y'all have this erotic sex, and then you don't talk to him no more for a week or whatever, however long it was, and kind of play like mind tricks with him just to know that, yeah, I got you. I gave you this good stuff, and I want you to chase me. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get it. You know what I'm saying? So she wasted his time the whole time, and then got salty when he moved on. It's like, all right, I got all these guys, I've been messing with them, but you know what? Now I think it's time for me like to settle with David. But David, like, I mean, David, I'm like, I'm good. I'm on another mission. I got another one. You know what I'm saying? I found some good punani somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So that was, I just see this all the time. Like I hear the stories. I experienced that type of stuff myself. You know what I'm saying? So that was that. I was sitting there like, what is going on here? But there's women like that, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like with the Erica situation, how she's reserved, you know what I'm saying, because of her experiences, you know what I'm saying, prior to her moving into her you know, herself or whatever, you know, to be able to build a relationship with somebody and her experiences prior to that. So it's like, you know, and then she's faking her orgasm because she ain't into him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo,
Well, she
just
did. She
tell.
was into him, but she didn't know how to be into him. If that makes sense, it's just like if I have to fake an orgasm, yeah, I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
pass
see,
on that one.
she faked the orgasm to try to keep him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
realized that the sex wasn't good. She ain't into it. She just doing it because she feel like this is what he wants
Gonna be doing,
instead of
yeah.
what she wants. And she's mentally not there. So now she's just giving him the sex and it's trash. And then he get to thinking like, yo, usually when I get down, you know what I'm saying, they going wild. And it's like, you got nothing. It's dry. The experience is not intense. So he like, she hoping that he called her. Like, how you hope he didn't call you and you wasn't even into the sex? Like
So
a
have
man, like
you personally not called a female after something like that before prior to marriage, of course?
what would you mean?
Say for instance, you got with a girl when you were
Uh-huh.
younger and it was a little disappointing when you by the time you got with her. Did you
Mm-hmm.
do you call back or did you like
Yeah.
what
I mean, if you this is the thing. So like you said, like the kind of the attribute that I get from Kenneth and David, they just looking for good pussy.
mm-hmm.
So basically, this is a man's mission. Basically, he looking for a woman that's sexually desirable for him.
Mm-hmm.
First, he's not looking for the other attributes that she has. You know, like I said, he did by even by him approaching her and trying to be in a relationship with her, none of the other stuff comes in play. It's just that he looking for because she's not from what I'm getting, she's not really a sexual person. She's very uh, 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 preserved. She's not ready to just jump into a sexual experience. She's more on a finding herself mode, and Kenneth ain't on that. He just going for looking for some good shit, right? Pardon my French, but um, at the end of the day, he didn't get what he was supposed to got out of her from the beginning, and that was her, you know, all her issues. That way, he can make it more presentable for her. You know what I'm saying? More, that he can actually add, like we was talking about, a male perspective is different when you start talking about your actual issues, and then that way he would know that you had these different experiences prior, so he know how to come at you and how to build a relationship based on that. Instead, it's just kind of like an organic, you know, they get together, go out, and then they have sex. You know what I'm saying? And the sexual experience the first time is trash.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and then she's like, "Oh, did I lose him?" Because you just gave it to him. You didn't wait to, you know what I'm saying, to build that rapport. Instead, you think that the sex is going to keep him around. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not really into the sexual part about it yet. You're not really haven't really got to that point. And then you let women convince you, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Don't let them, you know what I'm saying? Get with them, and try to make it spicier,
Yeah.
even though you're still not mentally into the relationship yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then you faking it on top of that. So eventually, this is a lot of women that build relationships. They build these relationships with men and knowing that they have issues sexually, you know, mentally. You have these issues and you build the relationship. That's why they don't stay long. You know what I'm saying? Like we was
So
talking
you
about last week, we was talking about how these relationships they're not longevity based on not checking things in the beginning, sitting down, having a one-on-one. Instead, it's more of a present situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the presence,
so
you
would
know.
you call back? Do you call back if it's boring or and another question. since you're a male and you're on here. Now,
Yeah.
the fake orgasm thing, can you
Mhm.
tell personally when a female is faking an orgasm? Mm,
Most men can,
mm.
but he in it though. He's in it for himself now. You feel what I'm saying?
He gonna allow the shenanigans.
Yeah, but then eventually, if it keeps happening, then he realized like, yo, this is, and that's why people don't stay in relationships a long time because we playing mind games with each other and knowing that each other knows. That's just like me trying to fake an orgasm with a woman. She gonna be like, you ain't, ain't gonna orgasm. I know when a man have an orgasm. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Same thing for women. Men know your body movements. It's your movements. It's just like a man. You know when he's about to have a orgasm because you can feel it in his movement.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it's your muscles. It's your inner inside of your body. We can feel that muscle. We know. So you faking it. He's sitting there like, here we go, and he like, all right, I'm gonna get mine, and then and that's it. That is what it is. But then in the back of his mind, all this stuff is subconsciously, it's embedded in our mind. So you don't really put your full effort in a relationship when you know that this is going on. You know,
Honey, because I never will put a effort in a relationship where I got to fake. I ain't even gonna flex. I ain't gonna act like I'm a nice. We know the etymology of nice. Nah, I'm not. I'm not finna do
right,
that.
right. Well, this is the thing with me. I would think that women will. I mean, of course, a lot of us don't want to embarrass our partners.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
if you're in a relationship with somebody, it's important that you tell them what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a man. If you know you like getting head, then you need to tell a woman that, hey, I like getting head. I'm not going to be sexually or with you mentally if I don't get no head. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of men prefer that. They really like they can't be with a woman that won't give them head. And the same thing, vice versa, with a woman. If she don't tell a man, and then he's sitting around, she like him, but he tell everybody like, I ain't with that. I don't eat no punani, man. You got me messed up. And now that's what get her to her where she need to be. But if
Mm-hmm.
she just with this man and knowing that he don't do that, then guess what? The relationship at some point is gonna it's not gonna work.
Yeah, it's
You
gonna fail.
know, it's gonna be
What
an
you say,
unhealthy.
Jennifer? I see you. I'm looking at your facial expression.
I was just thinking about that. So, all right. So Erica and Kenneth,
Mm-hmm.
David and Jennifer. I actually think they were matched up accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
I think what it really boils down to is the communication.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm,
neither of them, if you read in the book, both of them were offline in terms of their faculty, both man and woman, which
Mm-hmm.
is just a recipe for disaster to start with, right? On both sides. But
Mm-hmm.
I
mm,
really feel like it's the communication piece because if Erica went in, Erica was the angry one, right? So both David and Kenneth were looking for good pussy, but the book also outlined that they didn't really mean that. Just like
right. They did. No, they
just
didn't.
like Erica was acting like she was angry and she don't really do none of that. That
Mm-hmm.
was false as well. What it
Mm,
really was that she was afraid because she had never really had that type of dynamic. She was afraid of messing something like that up. And I
Mm-hmm.
think
mm,
Kenneth, to a degree, slow. She couldn't hold up her facade for long, right? As the weeks went by, he started seeing she wasn't as elegant of a rose, and she actually wasn't an elegant rose at all.
mhm.
But
Right.
he's still David telling him, cut your losses. It's a wrap. Just be done. Kenneth was actually the one who was like, I'm gonna just put her on probation. I'm gonna give her a
Mm-hmm.
chance because for whatever reason, he saw some qualities there. But the issue was that they didn't talk about it. And
Absolutely.
so that's what it was for both David and Jennifer as well. Like Uno, you were saying, yeah, she could have just kept it 100 and been like, okay, you looking for good pussy, I'm looking for good dick, and that's it. We just gonna leave it at that and talk through if that crossroad points, right, where
Mhm.
one union shifts gears.
Right.
That it was just, I just think it was a lack of
Communication.
communication.
Mhm.
um First and foremost, because of really um guilt and shame,
Right.
because you just don't feel safe
Right.
um being
Wasn't
vulnerable.
Erica being told that she should, it was kind of like the Keisha situation where she shouldn't be revealing, and you know what I'm saying, and she's kind of suppressed by other adults to not be that elegant rose as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I
I
think
I
know
think
she was the one who was encouraged to fake the orgasm
I
right.
by
think that
her
was another story.
friends.
Hmm.
Because Erica was the, let me see, because it says I because I took taking notes as you was reading.
Yeah, you're right.
Um,
Keisha was encouraged to.
no, I'm thinking that
She
because I
was
think
mad. She
that
was angry with her father, I think. I think Erica had the daddy
issues, right? Yeah, the daddy
issues.
issues,
Mm,
and then she started becoming kind of controlling when it came to relationship as well. You know what I'm saying? In the
Defeated her.
relationship,
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah, she had the daddy issues as well, and yeah, man, I think that that's
mm. So Keisha is a separate person. We talked about
yeah,
Keisha, but
yeah,
Erica, it's just she didn't know how. I guess to what would that be? The moon faculty or the elegant rose? Well,
She
you just
had
don't.
no elegant rose. She
Okay.
had none. She knew how to I guess display herself temporarily, but it was just a faculty that was not really
a part of her.
active.
Mhm.
And so it faded.
Yeah, and I can feel that too because it's like if your elegant rose is being shut down, like in Keisha case, then when it's time for it to turn on, how do you even be safe in doing that if you don't know how that really works and functions? But yeah, I agree. A lack of communication too, because a lot of us, even as adults, don't communicate our needs and our wants, or just don't feel comfortable communicating that with our partner. But we'll talk about it with our girlfriends or
Hmm.
our homeboys in the background. And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
and living in fear of losing that person. So it's fear there
Hmm.
because when you tell someone something you like or dislike, you're scared of their reaction because you care for them and losing them. You know what I'm saying? So if you, like I said, if you tell a person, "Hey, I want this," or I want our relationship to be like this," and instead of you looking forward to them talking about it or whatever, the first thing we think is that person is going to get mad and leave. You know what I'm saying? So that's lack of, like you said, lack of communication and living in a fear of that communication, because
Hmm.
it's easy to talk to somebody. It's just that we live in fear of what that person that we care about, their reaction is going to be. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah, because we all, I know,
and making judgment for
and
them
they
to make
what?
judgment
You said they what?
for them to make judgment on you telling them how you feel or
Mm.
what your experience is, you know? Like if you're in a relationship, y'all been together, and then like we were saying, like you have a lack of sexual intent, and this, you know, you can't have an orgasm or whatever, and talking to that person to get you to get there. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? It's like, you know, I would like to have more of a directive sexual experience, so that way I can get you to get me there. And that person might feel, they feel like that other person, that person in relationship will feel like, dang, you've been duking me this whole time. You know what I'm saying? You've been faking, and instead of them telling that person, hey, this is what it's going to take to get me there.
Mm-hmm.
you know. And the same thing for a man, because some men, I done faked it before. You know what I'm saying? We do that too. I know the woman knew because she looked at me like, yeah, you lying. But it was because it just wasn't an intimate scenery. It wasn't, I wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But we do it, and she knew it. You know what I'm saying? Just like when women do it, we know. You know,
Let me find out, brothers out here faking
brothers
it.
out here, brothers out here faking it because they looking for good. You know what I'm saying? We talking actually talking about looking for good punani. You know what I'm saying? It might not be the person, like if you single and you you out here in the streets and you just messing around, you know what I'm saying, to find that right person. And the person that you want to be with, men sit around and don't be if they single and they haven't made a commitment to nobody, but the person that they want to try to make a commitment with, that person is not reacting, they still have sexual urges. So of course he might mess with her just like a woman does. She it might be a guy that she's into, but she might still have a sexual desire, but this guy hasn't made his decision to be with her specifically. You know what I'm saying? So you might mess around with somebody just that, have a booty call or something. You had a couple of drinks and girl ain't answering the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you get there and it's trash. You like, yo, it's not what I'm. You know what I'm saying? It's just ain't really good to me. So you act like you did something, and you're like, hey, I gotta go to work in the morning. I'll get up with you tomorrow. It's like,
Nina, he answering the question now that you had asked earlier about.
Right, he didn't want to answer. Now he coming back with it.
I'm sorry.
So you don't call back. It was trash. Okay.
No. This is the thing.
Y'all, brother Uno is married. He's been married how many years?
Listen. I'm gonna tell you this. Niggas will call back because we don't give up. We don't give up on you. We be like, all right, I'm gonna try one more time. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. Like we would talk to you, constantly talk to you.
I know. That's true.
And we know what I'm saying? We play games. That's what we do. Women know that. He be playing games and this and that. Instead of him telling her, like, it ain't working, you know what I'm saying? That, but I'm gonna try it again because it's there. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said what I said, because we will talk to you on the phone.
But that's what he did
the next day. I'll talk to you on the phone and just be like, yo, what's up? When we gonna link up again? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what he did in the book, though. It was
Kenneth, right? Yeah, that's what Kenneth was doing.
See what I'm saying? So we do it. We actually we'll call you. You know what I'm saying? Because to be honest, we don't want to be assholes. You know what I'm saying? So we'll call you because we know your feelings involved, and we'll be like, hey, how you doing? Good morning. Oh, last night was, you know what I'm saying? When the next time?
See, it's true. We got to throw the whole model away. This is not working out.
I'm just showing y'all, like, it's two sides to the coin, and we both do this.
Yeah.
As an attribute, we all do the game plan, but it's just women are more, they can do it more where it's like psychological. You know what I'm saying? Us men, we don't really, if we let it be known, you know what I'm saying, in a way where we'll just kind of fade away. We won't just directly be like, don't answer your calls and all that. We just kind of let it naturally go away.
So you don't believe?
You don't believe that?
Not at all.
You don't believe we don't go? No. For example, a man that's not interested, he'll call you and talk to you, but eventually, if he finds somebody else that he really can, that space, that time and space that you was giving him, if he can find somebody in that time and space, you'll start noticing he ain't calling you as much as he was, and he will fade into, he might call you 6 months instead of he usually call you every other day or so. He'll start calling you in month like periodic times. You know what I'm saying?
So if it's an extended period of time, because I just remember you talking about like a young woman who was talking about how one of her first date didn't go well, but she was glad because she had another date right after it. And that was mind blowing to you. So if she has a connection with somebody and she realizes it doesn't work and then she moves on to the next, is that because it happened so quickly and she didn't, fade back? It changes the impact.
See, I'm kind of being biased right now a little bit because
I was going to say that's that double standard. That's that
yeah,
double
because
standard.
the reason why I say this is like I said, we women are the locks, men are the keys. For a man, he can put his key into any hole, any key in any lock. That doesn't mean it's going to open for him. For a woman, she has to let that key get in there to open the lock up. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's kind of a double standard, because it's different. Like we was talking about with Jennifer, she ended up with an STD. You see what I'm saying? It's because she let so many locks open her door and it brought these things in it. You know what I'm saying? And it's left there now. Now, the man that gave it to her probably got it from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because all he doing is sticking into these different locks and planting these things in other women. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. That's why the narrative in the world is the way it is, because women have to open themselves up. You got to open your legs up, you know what I'm saying, to let somebody in. If you keep your legs closed, it's not the same. It's not like us. You know what I'm saying? We automatically there every time. We don't care. It's a bad situation. Like I said, it could be a bad situation. We're going to show up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it said. He would continue to do so even when it hurts. When it said something about the stand-up guy,
right?
A real masculine man, he'll still show up even when it hurts. He know it ain't good for him.
Right. We can know at that moment. You like, God, this is a bad idea. I know I should have wore condom. Bad idea. You know what I'm saying? And then you end up with a baby, and it's like, dude, I got so many friends that I'd be like, bro, why you didn't put a condom? Oh man, I was in the moment. I'm like, yo, so now you got to deal with this woman you don't really like with a baby. It's like, that's the scenarios, and that's what I'm saying. While a woman is different, she's being bringing, it's things being brought to her. You know what I'm saying? She can't leave nothing leave nothing with him for him to have, you know what I'm saying, and carry and have to deal with that problem.
So, I mean, it's a cold world double standard, because I know in Atlanta, number one, it's just a double standard. Men go around, they shebang all day. They can be burning times 20, and it's mumble. But if it's a female going around burning, then it's announced to the world. It's just it's weird. But yeah.
I mean, I do agree that women are, receivers.
Yeah.
But in talking about dating, that really may not have anything to do with the act of sex. And let's just say it does have to do with the act of sex, just like the book, like Master Yao was saying, it's really not so much the act.
Right.
as it
Mm,
is the immaturity or the lack of maturity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the key component, I
Mm-hmm.
think, is that if you are mature and you handle your sexual affairs in a
right.
mature manner,
Mm-hmm.
then you avoid the unwanted pregnancies and the STDs, and you're a little more selective with the people you choose to engage with sexually.
Mm.
That's a fact. That's a
What
fact.
do you think about with, because even if we go there, then we have to look in it a little deeper because we're dealing with energy exchange too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a possibility, and I think it was noted in the book that a woman that's having this sex, she's taking on these attributes of these other men. You know what I'm saying? She's taking in this energy from these guys, and they're leaving something with them, with her, and they moving on, but that energy is left within herself. So now she has to deal with these things that's
Different
embedded
energy.
in her
Mm-hmm.
womb, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's why I'm saying in the case of a man and a woman, it's kind of on a different level. You know what I'm saying? Because with ejaculation and orgasm, it's the exchange of energy. So of course we're exchanging something, but the woman's orgasmic energy is just for her to open up for his energy to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit. It's that's why I kind of like I said, I kind of play in saying the double sided of the events, because it's women have to understand that this is happening, and that's why us men. That's why the world says things like that, like women shouldn't be promiscuous in a way because she's dealing with all these different energies, and it's a little bit different than a man. But a man, on the other hand, he deals with those energies as well. But a
Right.
woman take those energies and she holds on to them. A man, you kind of take it and pass it on to other women. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Oh
So
wow.
that
That's
womb of
deep.
that woman, that the energy that he got from her, he just put it in another woman. Now that's why women go through the same things, because that was he experienced with her and what's going on in her life with her new man. Now your new woman is dealing with that because you brought that energy over here because you never cleansed it. But like you said, if she's mature, then she know how to protect herself from these different things and all that too. You know,
Mm.
she's
Yeah,
more.
and I am curious to see the other side of this. I haven't read Awakening the Divine Masculine, but if
Mhm.
I had to guess, I would guess that it is an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, I really don't know what happens the with the male or the man when there there's a sexual energy exchange.
Mm.
Do you have you read the book?
I
No.
I'm I told y'all I'm reading it with y'all. I haven't
Oh,
got the book
okay.
yet, so I haven't read it yet.
Mm-mm. I just remember what he just said though, that men experienced it but in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do want to read to make just to see what that looks like,
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
because
it's, it's the reflection of, it's like taking it and putting it into the new person that you have. That's the mirroring part about it. It's not him having it. It's him. If you had a bad relationship over here, and now you with a new woman, and you carry that energy, you put it into your new woman. Now it's starting to reveal itself in her. You know,
well,
if you
we
don't do the
shall
proper
see.
if you don't do the proper cleansing, then that's why it's
Mm-hmm.
important to take those spiritual baths and all that stuff to cleanse people's energy off of you. You know.
Right. Cord cutting and all that. This is just deep, all of it. Like I said, I
Yeah.
can relate to all the women in the book at this point. It's like
Right.
it hasn't been a point where I can't see that female shoe. Keisha was very deep tonight, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer last week, her case study was very deep. And so in these women, we all can see parts of ourselves. Even from a male point of view, you say it's just mind blowing to even think about men forcing themselves or
Right.
rape, and it happens all of the time. And
Right.
like I said, in most cases, women suppress it, and then it comes out in other areas, like
Yeah.
your total disdain for men. Like you don't care for them too much just because of all the pain you've encountered in your relations to the male species.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's deep. This makes takes me back again to look at self and how that's showing up in my household. So it's like, damn, if you reading Keisha and then you went through half of what Keisha went through, how does that show up in your personal interaction with your loved ones?
Right.
Especially having a son. Because it doesn't just go towards your significant other. You talking about your male children also being subjected to the fallout of your wounds. And
Mm.
so it's just deep. It's all deep.
Yeah, that the experiences, now that I can see those experiences, I know how to react to them when I see them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a woman. I don't know that these things happen. Like I said, with the rape thing and you know the suppression of it, women start to show, you know, those attributes in their everyday life. They start reacting to things in a certain manner because they're holding back something. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
controlling, you know what I'm saying, and the what else was going on? The playing games and stuff like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know where this stuff comes from. It just happens, and it's start happening in a relationship, and you like, yo, I wonder why. Like I said, I was talking to my brother about mama and daddy issues, and I was like, bro, we got mama and daddy issues, bro. We haven't been able to talk them out because our cousin was on the phone with us. He just got out of jail, and we was talking about vices, and I'm like, yo, it's because we experience things and we don't talk about them. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that was important. But I'm just listening to this stuff with the feminine aspect of it and feminine masculine aspect of what women go through. It's like eye awakening. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy though.
And we
That's why I said I
appreciate
really enjoyed
you.
this chapter. I really did. I really did enjoy this chapter. It was very interesting.
We appreciate you participating. It definitely brings
Yes.
a different point of view, and not just that. That's what we're in it for, to provide insight and healing. Because I feel like there's a rift between the masculine and feminine, because nobody can see the other person's side or point of view. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just, like I said, I look forward to the next book and the next chapter. Y'all, the next chapter we'll be on is the Amazon woman. This is the
Oh.
woman. Um, y'all have heard the stories about Amazon women. They wanted to be the best archers, so they decided to chop off one of their breasts. Okay, and so the
Right.
men were being ruled by them. They used the men for only sexual pleasure, and
Mm-hmm.
also they were casting away. They were casting away the strong men and keeping around the betas, what we call betas in society.
Oh, hey, if y'all can, you should watch a movie that came out in 1975. It's a black exploitation movie called Mandingo, and this will go good with that
Yes.
chapter. If you get a chance to watch it, because it shows you that the reason why a lot of things that we do today is because of things that we experienced in a certain point of our ancestors had dealt with, and it just kind of trickled down. And our relationships between one another is because of things that happen at a time of bondage. You know what I'm saying? Where you're revealing and you reveal yourself because back then you had no choice because you couldn't have no clothes. They wouldn't let you put on clothes. You didn't have the choice to, what I'm saying, protect your womb or a man protecting his manhood. You know what I'm saying? So you
I was
get
gonna
these.
say that I want to go back to that time, so I I have to go ahead and put it out there. I ain't for the clothes. I think
No, I'm
everybody.
saying, but you didn't have control over your body. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
I'm,
I get
I'm
what you
saying
say.
because you got people that were ruling over you that can't control you. So
Yeah,
you
I
know
get what
you
you're saying.
yeah, and to this day we still sag our pants. We still are revealing, like, people walk around with basically pajamas on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And very revealing. But you don't know that it was a time where we couldn't cover ourselves up because we didn't have the accessibility to those things, or just they told you you couldn't wear clothes and you couldn't wear shoes. You know what I'm saying? So now that's why we so into having material and stuff like that, because of the things
Mm-hmm.
that we have, post-traumatic slave syndrome. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So this chapter will go the Amazon chapter probably go good with watching that book. I mean, watching that movie. You know what
Well,
I'm
I'm just
saying?
thinking about how there's still a disdain for men because we read this earlier. They went into all the archetypes and stuff, an Amazon woman, but just a disdain for men, so much so that you would get rid of the alpha because you didn't want to be ruled by men, or whatever it was. I don't know the complete story by heart, but it just still is a deep hatred. And it reminds me of what the seated hawk, where everything is about status, and you just
Is that the treasure chest? I think status.
okay. Yeah, they were warriors, and it was just so important to them. And I know that's an imbalance because yeah, I don't want to be the warrior. I don't want to be on the front line. I'm very old fashioned when it comes to that. I'm gonna do the paperwork while y'all going out there and do the war. You know what I'm saying? So I just can't see it. And then to go as far as to cut off one of your boobs, that's like you too hard for me, my sister. Went
Ah,
too
that's
far.
wild.
Yeah. So y'all research the movie Mandingo and also look into the history and the myth of the Amazon women. They used to call me Amazon growing up because I was always tall and shapely. And so I'm thinking when we got to this, it was gonna be about something else. And so when I read the story, I was like, oh no, they had me mixed up.
Is that just a masculine attribute of they showing that was a more warrior, masculine side of it, of themselves to, because if we look at society today, women, what we see in the norm is that women wants guys that are thuggish. You know what I'm saying? That seem more of like on the protective side, and then the beta is kind of like that's what they want to rule over. You know what I'm saying? They want to rule over the beta man, and it's like, hey, when you said that, I'm like, that seems kind of like today. You know,
Mm.
you know.
I don't want to and I'm old fashioned. I'm 40, y'all. I say this with joy. I just always knew I wanted an alpha. I knew my husband would be older. I didn't want no parts of the new form of thing. All that 50-50 and no. that that don't go with how I had my plans set up. So this new stuff, it be blowing my mind. I'm like, okay. The men being on social media planning makeup and all that. You got you and him switching places. I'm not with all that. If I catch
Mm.
one whiff of thinking that you would be in agreement, it might be an issue.
They
And so
got alpha males that wearing them pieces on their head now
I ain't
too. You know
messing.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I'm not messing with you.
Little quick weave.
Yeah, and it's sad because as a stylist, yeah, I'm a licensed cosmetology instructor. I get it because when people sit in your chair and they're insecure about losing their hair,
You gotta make
that
it.
yeah. But on the flip side, if my man cannot have a toupee, I'm sorry. Again, I'm 40. I'm just not with. If your hair land where my hair be laying, I ain't with it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, absolutely not.
You don't want to take his hair off and you ain't gonna glue it down again for the night.
He better have a bald head. That's all I'm accepting.
Mm.
My brother.
Yeah, and you know that's this today's society is like so much insecurity and people scared to be themselves. It's like they do anything. I just found out that it's men that wear yarn in their hair. What do you call that? We got like fake dreadlocks.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
they're even lace fronting in their beards. And I'm just like, so when you get with this female and she realized your beard is peeling up, I am so petty. I mean, it's gonna be all types of over. It's gonna be so over, you ain't gonna know.
Oh.
I can't. I'm
Wow.
sorry. And so I would take you ugly, but I would not take you in a toupee and a fake beard, okay? Absolutely not.
Mm.
So
Oh, man. Yeah, you gotta at some point you gotta just accept yourself. But you know, like insecurities, like you know, that's the same thing with women. And if they go to they go somewhere, they're scared to be themselves. And then when you're in a relationship with somebody, and you can't, how I'm gonna be in a relationship with you when you can't even be your natural self? You gotta put a wig on. You know what I'm saying? I never see your natural hair, even if you just, a lot of women losing their hair and all that stuff because of a lot of the things, the chemicals they put in their bodies and stuff like that. It's like, yo, how you want me to accept you? And if I never seen what you never know. I might be acceptive to who you are. I don't care about all that. You know what I'm saying? Like you talking about weight goes up and down. It's like, I mean, you accept somebody, you accept them going, they body change and everything. But and then once I do see you and we done been in a relationship for 15 years, you know what I'm saying? It's like I don't think nobody will be in a relationship with nobody that long, but you know what I'm saying? It's like some people start off the relationship with a lot of things hidden from somebody. You gotta be open.
Yeah.
You know?
I know women that don't even take off their makeup. I'm like, honey, I'm not sleeping with that on my face. I'm just not.
Really? Makeup too?
Look, I'm like, because I'm a porous person. I was that student in cosmetology class that cared about the actual health of the hair and the skin. And so I'm just thinking overnight it's sitting in your pores. You don't know what this stuff was made at, what chemicals. And it's just sitting, all this. I have to ask Ray, do you need me to spruce it up? Because baby, this be his plain Jane 24/8, okay? And we go somewhere, I'll dress it up, but just walking around with caked on, I can't. I'm sorry.
It's interesting because my wife, when she put it on, I just don't like it. I'd be like, I mean, you know, I'm so used to her natural face. It's like she got a mask on her, and I find being that person that just kind of don't say nothing.
Good.
One time I was like, I don't like it, and she was like, you don't like it? I was like, nah, I like your natural, you know what I'm saying? And ever since I told her that, she don't really do it as much.
Aww.
Well, that's good.
You know.
Yeah, it's a thin line. I get it. Because when I do my makeup, I'm beating face to the gods. Okay, went to school for it. And so I get it. I feel better. I'm gonna go out and woo the world. People be like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's not for me, it's for her. So that's why I kind of like, I like it. I don't really like it because I like the way you look, but I know that this is what you wanted. This is what you want to do when you go out. You know what I'm saying?
And it just builds confidence. It's what we call glamour, being able to put it on and take it off. You know, people do react to you different. It does matter, unfortunately, in the world we live in. Superficial is the thing, and so that keeps a lot of people from having platforms like this. Because it was my thing. I thought every time I go live, I need to have my makeup done and be dressed up because that's what I'm seeing. And the reality is, all my people who've been subscribed for years, they know I would be on here with a bunny. I ain't feeling no type of way. I'm sharing information and I'm getting up out of here. And so it is a thing, it's pressure from the world, though, because the men, they really don't care. I know Ray be like, spruce it up. How much that's gonna cost? Nah. Hold on. Wait a minute. He want to know, like, you trying to trick me? You know that sprucing comes with a cost, honey. And so that's what it is. Makeup to be done, that's $50 to $80 if somebody's really
Right.
doing it. And so
Right.
I like it because I do it myself, but I can only imagine I have my girlfriends, cousins, family, and friends where they're going out and actually paying somebody to glamour them. And that
Right.
gets expensive over time.
Yeah.
And so that's another weight that when they're looking for relationships with men, they feel like they got to bring all this to the table. He got to be able to get my makeup done, my toes, nails, and it's just like men, those women sometimes are heavy on the single. Not all, but
Mm.
some. And because you
Mhm.
coming with a whole bill before you are bringing value to the table. You know, you coming with a long list of things. And I know that was the I don't know if it's the elegant rose or whatever, but in the club you see a lot of that. Like women, and that's just the status. And if you ain't got it, you ain't finna be talking to that particular lady of the evening. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not lady of the evening. I don't know if she's selling anything, but y'all get it. She working a nightlife, and it's like status in Atlanta. I don't know about nowhere else.
That kind of like take me back to royalty. They will put a lot into
Mm-hmm.
the queen. She will have a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Every day she has to be the representation of her king. So she would
Yeah,
be painted up and with
bathing
jewelry.
roses. She
Yeah,
be
have
getting
the best
massages.
garments on and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get why our women do that. I do. I really do. And I think
Good.
that's what us men have to start understanding, that our women are basically royalty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in their genetics to present themselves as they're being the queen present. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because we recognize that shit. We be like, man, she look good, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. Um, but living in a society, we know we got boundaries and all these different things going on. So we be like, hey, how she gonna be dressed up? I gotta go to work, and it's like we normalize it, but we don't understand the genetic portion of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. It's in you to come out there and stunt like Leo the Lion. That Leo need to be on the scene. That's my I think it's the rising or ascent. Don't shame me, don't shun me. 'Cause I am a Leo rising, I think. And so in that, I have to be center, get out of being behind the scenes and be center of attention sometimes.
Oh, North Node.
North Node. Okay,
North
I have a
Node.
North Node in Leo.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thing, how me and you met, we would all have our little bitty icon at the bottom of the screen. We were screen sharing. So it really didn't matter if I had on the button because I was like a quarter size. And so I'm putting out the information. But then 10 years later, you're looking at YouTube, people are doing whole presentations with the same information. They dressed
Mm.
up. Shout out to all the YouTubers out there. I even see women in full lingerie doing their videos. And so it's still, is that the elegant rose times 10, or is it just pressure to be that person all the time? And
Mm.
so I'm trying to get more into the elegant rose. It's just, where would that fit this far? Because I know I'm
Yeah.
not coming here dressed to the T to the gods, and that's
I'm,
just not me either every day.
I got a question for y'all. For you guys building that elegant rose, or being in that elegant rose position,
Mm-hmm.
is it that when women are in that position, do you think that they have to be um what do you call it, when they're like very, very, what I'm saying, that they out doing like twerking and all that stuff? Do you think that comes with it? Does that
I
have to be?
do. I am a twerker. I do. I
I mean,
do.
like, you know
I
what I
think,
mean?
no,
No,
I
I
get
mean,
what you're saying. They in
You
public
mean like being promiscuous?
no,
or on
not really. You
social
don't have to be
media.
promiscuous to be somebody that has that everywhere they go, that's their character. Their character is to, be popping their butt everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out the difference between the elegant rose and somebody just basically, you know what I'm
it's a
saying?
it's a fine line because for me, like I said, I'm from the hood, and so when we have little get-togethers, it's gonna be some twerking going on. I'm talking about grown women. We all done got old. It's still twerking to this day. I was just looking at a highlight on Instagram of a party my homegirls had.
But does that is it the right time and place for that?
There
Because
is.
you're dealing with elegance, you gotta know when and when not to do it, right?
I mean, it is. Me and my hunger, we don't go to a bar. Well, let me take that back because it will be twerking in bars in Atlanta, honey. Atlanta is lit, okay? You go to the Mexican, it's twerking on the table, okay? But it's not my people. We ain't actually getting out and getting on the table. If it's a house party, yeah, you comfortable with everybody there. Most everybody know everybody, not a bunch of strangers. But would I be at a I would say 5-star restaurant twerking, or me and my home we going there, we're gonna turn up the 5-star restaurant? No, that's not appropriate.
That's
But
what I wanted.
generally, I mean, if you still hanging at the club, it's twerking going on, and I don't find nothing wrong with it. I love to see women
I
being
see that's the thing.
open.
I figure like that's the setting for it, but
Yeah.
because I want to determine being a man. That's why I'm asking this question because I enjoy the understanding of the book, but I want to learn how to put it in perspective when it's in reality. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How to differentiate what is the elegant rose, and I don't know what to call the other thing, because if it's not somebody that has control of their elegance, then how do I determine if she's an elegant rose or not?
It's still the elegant rose. I
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
mean, you
okay.
have a positive broadcast and you have a negative broadcast
Mm-hmm.
of
Oh,
that particular faculty. And so, the elegant rose, if you remember in the earlier chapters, it talked about how that particular faculty is a rebel and
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't deal with
She
rules and she doesn't deal with being told what to
okay.
do and she
and
Yeah,
doesn't.
she
yeah, yeah.
don't care that you
There's
are
an
Right.
uncomfortable.
immaturity level. That's where I think the elegant rose was where the STDs, I think that was where that reference came in. Um, I feel like it's very it's like Aries like energy, right? While
Mm-hmm.
where it's just everything is just blooming in this
Right.
person. No restrictions, no rules. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living life,
But
and
YOLO.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Just me
Okay.
personally, and I'm gonna say my personal experience. What I see a lot of is when the elegant rose is exposed, it's a inner hatred, and it whether it's from men or women, there's something there that makes you uncomfortable.
Mm,
And so, for me to go out anywhere, I don't care if a female is beautiful and she feels comfortable doing her thing wherever she go. It doesn't shift my energy. I might think it might be a little ratchet, but that's my personal opinion. It doesn't get me to the point where I'm gonna snarl at her or just be, oh hey, no. I mean, let her do her thing. And that's the thing with Elegant Rose that I admire. It's just like she does not care.
mm,
And we get so wrapped up in caring to where we're suppressing the feminine. We're talking about cultural practices in Africa. Still to this day, they have rites of passage ceremonies where they are twerking. We call it a twerk. They might call it giving um homage to the goddess Ufufu. No offense, y'all know I had to give a good example. No offense. It might be just that to them, but it's still the root chakra. And a lot of people are having difficulties getting pregnant because you have retired your root chakra. It says in the book too that it's not enough circulation going to the cells in that area.
And that root chakra is so important in terms of your security, who you
Mm-hmm.
are, what you're rooted in,
Mm-hmm.
developmentally. Like
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah, yeah, when y'all said that, basically, Nina, you were saying that it was something is ratchet, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
while I'm here, I just want to get you guys' perspective, because I really, it's like it's different, it's it's different situations with it, because you got to look at it like our fashion itself
Mm-hmm.
can be different. Like somebody can go outside with some weird stuff on,
Mm-hmm.
and that might be her being an elegant rose, like you
Right.
said.
All right.
But it's, you see it, you be like, yo, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to put no judgment. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find a way to not find judgment on that particular person. You know what
But
I'm
y'all are
saying?
men, y'all are logical. Like, so it's gonna be different. The way you even look at it, like you said when you were talking about your wife, you looking at it from a place of protection. And so
Uh,
it wasn't so much that she had it on and that it was short. It's
right,
like, who been guarding you all day? Like, wait a minute.
right,
She was
right,
ready to take your place.
right. That
Nina,
mic,
your audio. Mm-mm.
that was my mic.
No, I think it's Nina's. Can you hear her?
I can't hear it.
Mm-mm. Plug your cord. Check your cord. Make sure it's plugged in to the box.
What about now?
You're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I just feel like men are see an elegant rose and they will want to screw her. But when you talk about marrying, settle down, and such, there will be hesitation there
Mm.
for the same reason. So I get it, I get it.
Yeah, I was looking at it like, it's like it depends on, because I'm trying to, because I done seen so many weird things. I know that she's in her own, so I done seen some things, like I'd be like looking at her like, why is she doing it to herself? You know what I'm saying? And I see other women like looking at, like, look at this, you know what I'm saying? But again, like I said, it's her and her own. She finding her own in
Mhm.
that look, whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? She might have, we done seen those people, like, what is that going on there? You
But then
know?
you're a father too. You have daughters, and so it ain't in you to want them to be out there like that either. And
Right.
so it just makes a big difference. But we're thinking in terms of reprogramming and healing, we
Mm-hmm.
have to still stop placing judgment, because if you're not gonna say, let me pull her to the side and tell her why this is inappropriate. Even when we're talking about the older women, when you curvaceous, they all of a sudden, once you start hitting a certain age, you gonna get pregnant and just all this negativity, but it's you never even having the first initial conversation about sex or sexuality. You how you feel in your feminine form. And so if we're not gonna have a conversation, let's just try to start healing by removing the judgment.
Mm.
'Cause I see a lot of ratchetness. I am for the ratchetness on different occasions. I'm a sage. Like I'm for the ratchetness. I ain't gonna kick it. But I do feel like that person may not end up married sometimes. And so it's like, okay, you putting that energy out there, that's exactly what you're gonna attract back.
Now, I will say though, um,
They be married.
them hoes be married.
Right,
I'm a just
Right.
Like all of the I talk about this with my friends all the time. Like the younger girls who was out there in their whole phase, as I like to call it, and they was out there exploring the world and everything. They are nice
Mm-hmm.
moons. They have activated that moon archetype, shifted that into full gear, and just as married and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
pleasing and pleasurable as they want to be. And that low key had me thinking, like, wow, like to go back, it's really so like taking that judgment and replacing that with just communication. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about sex. Like, I think we need to get to a point where it's even just comfortable to even ask about
Sex.
sex or
Mm-hmm.
what sex is. Like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like growing up, that was not something I even felt comfortable
Mm-hmm.
even coming back home to ask about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like even before that, it's just like that dialogue and the communication so that you
Mm-hmm.
can get an understanding of why, I don't know, she's wearing what she's wearing, or
Mm-hmm.
that it's not a matter of pulling anybody, pulling her over to the side to tell her that what she's doing is inappropriate,
Mm-hmm.
as much as it is just encouraging communication so that you can get an understanding in your experience. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff that doesn't even really have to be
Sex.
said, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Because
But
I'm
I think
thinking when
I,
you
I,
said
I
that, I was just thinking more so of sometimes it's not sexual. It's a young girl trying to convey something she's feeling inward, but nobody has had that conversation with her. So
mhm,
she automatically thinks this is this. This is how
mhm,
I convey this to the world. I'm ready, whether it be I'm ready to encounter a man or whatever, whatever. This is how I gotta go about doing it to get that
right.
reaction. So
That's
yeah.
why women say that's why I feel sexy. They feel sexy, so they showing it on them. I feel sexy. I put this garment on. It makes me feel sexy. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? But from the masculine side of that, we on the outside looking in as seeing what that attracts. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's always gonna be an opposite thing to what you're feeling. It's a opposing energy that's gonna come with that. So as someone that wants to protect, we'll be like, yo, I don't think you should reveal that. And it's not that we're trying to suppress you, it's that we're like you said, like I said, you said earlier what I said about my wife, I'm protecting you from what comes with that. Not only is you gonna get attention, but you're gonna also get negative attention as well. And that can be
Mm-hmm.
something that you might not be able to protect yourself from. And that's where, it's not natural. Like, yo, the natural thing that you can't hide is your physical body. You can't hide that you got big breasts and a big butt, or you
Mm-hmm.
shapely. You can't hide that, or you just
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Period.
Yeah.
Those things are hide. But when you open yourself up to show those things on another side of it, then it's like, all right, you're getting it. You're attracting something to that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, just
Even
being
with
a
the
man.
arcade situation with the healing journey trip,
Mhm.
what it pointed back to, because I did not finish what happened. I went back to that place where the arcade, the carpet and all that. And so what I had to do to heal from that was to speak to that little girl and tell that little girl in me that that was okay. It was not my fault because I did feel like I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I had contributed to the series of events. And
mhm,
so, that you all don't sleep on your shadow work or your childhood trauma work. Leo is children as well, and so I also ordered me some dolls off of Etsy, and so when I'm trying to heal something from the past, I pull out my dolls because that was my thing. I gave away my dolls because I felt like, oh, I'm going to high school, so now it's time to grow up. And so sometimes you have to put yourself back in those situations and speak to that little girl or little boy,
mm,
just to say it's okay. You did not have to suppress that. That wasn't your fault, or just the love and hug on yourself. Because I know that night I cried and cried and cried, and then I got tired of crying, and I was able to talk about it with my husband, like to actually share what happened. And what it connected for me was it did form a disdain for men at that point, because again, what predator works at an arcade and is preying on little girls? You get what I'm saying? And who's to say he wasn't preying on little boys too? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like me video games, don't do it, don't want it around me. Just I feel like that comes with a mindset, and it stemmed from maybe that one occasion. And you do have to go back and heal that stuff, because if not, I just saw what was showing up in my adult life, in my
Mm-hmm.
relationships. You keep attracting that predator energy, and it's because that signal is still being broadcasted. And so it's
Mhm.
deep and it's sick. Okay.
Right. Do you think that since we have such a mindset that is vision that's there all the time, it's an actual image that can be embedded into your subconscious mind, that you have to, like you said, in an arcade, maybe you need to go in an arcade and realize and get and put yourself in there where you can battle that fear. You know what I'm saying? Just going
Well,
into
well, there's no fear, and I've been back to one. But
a
as far as trusting my seed to grow up and be in those type of places, that's what a healing would be. Because right, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not feeling that. Just children
right.
hanging around places where grown ass adults, excuse my language, are working and using those positions to prey on children. That's something
Hmm.
total, because it was trusting. It's an arcade. We all used to hang there. This is the Omni Georgia Dome. It was just a lot of food places and places where teenagers hang to keep from being, on the streets and causing trouble. It was a game room. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was definitely a memory. I had friends that worked in the same building, like fast food restaurants. And so it was a stamp, but it was just the suppressing of it. And then the shame, because it's at that point, it's like, damn, how do we get here? And so as a young female, you trying to figure out, how can I make this not happen again? That wasn't cool. And
Mm-hmm.
so by all means, all the sunflowers and the girly clothes, I think that left with that. Like,
Right.
nah, I ain't trusting it. I want to dress to where a man would know I'm ready to fight and protect my body.
Right.
So I started dress,
And
like I said.
just a view back to that time, we were so vulnerable to all these different things because I remember we didn't lock the doors to the houses and all that stuff, and
Mhm,
like it was so open for that type of atmosphere,
mhm.
sexual predators and all that stuff on male and female, and it's like, the stories that I hear, I'd be like, yo, I'm glad I didn't, I was away from it, but I was always around it. It could have happened to me at any point in time.
Mhm,
You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
I,
And
I
it
know
happened.
guys that, yeah, I know guys that been abused, sexually abused when they were kids. I know women that experienced sexual abuse. And I was like, oh, that is wild.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I don't make judgment on people, because your experience, you know what I'm saying, is everything. And in order for us to heal, we need to know this stuff. We need to know it
Yeah.
exists, you know?
And
And
invest in your healing. Don't be just sitting around thinking your healing is gonna come from just reading a book. You have to
Mm-hmm.
actually invest in your healing, whether it be a retreat, some trips, whatever
mm,
it takes to heal
Mm-hmm.
those parts of yourself, because we also have shame surrounding modes of healing. Somebody will say, "Oh, well, this is drugs," and it's a natural occurring plant in nature. And you say, "Okay, well, this is what I use for healing." You'll have somebody on the left, or the opposite end of the pole. It's like, "Oh, well, we abuse drugs." Yes, we do, but the drugs that are for healing or we're gonna say drugs, quote unquote, because we know plant medicine has been used for centuries. And so
Mhm.
that's the other thing. If I had not been in the currency code, would not have even had the guts to try the shrooms, and then to be able to go back to a place where I was holding on. That shit was eating away at me on the inside as far as my relationship with men, because it still had not been dealt with. This is what, 2 years ago, 38. You still holding that in, and
Mm.
it happened, and you push it down and you just move forward, all that being strong. You got to break all that down and go back and make sure that you heal from it, because if not, it shows up as little sores and eventually it's a big scab. You so hard and coarse when it comes to guys. You're putting out a signal that you want a man, but when they come around, you're hard and coarse, and it goes back to being comfortable enough to be vulnerable to have an orgasm. Okay. So
Mhm.
it all connects. It's just like you'll be with somebody 25 years and you've had maybe 5 orgasms. How
Mhm.
how's that helping? We keeping our families together, but it's like toxic households. Everybody's sexually frustrated. So
Right. Resentful.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, all that. Well, yeah, I enjoyed Joel tonight.
Yes, yes. And to go back to the card that we pulled earlier at the beginning, the true resilience is in the healing
Hmm.
and being willing to
What card was that again?
the resilience, the card, the wisdom of the shadow card.
Okay.
Um,
That looks like a heart too, huh? On the card.
mhm. Just it's broken into pieces.
What chakra would the heart be?
Your heart chakra.
Oh. Thought it was something special. Okay. Okay. So that is still Leo, right? Leo is the lion and the heart
Mhm.
or the body parts. And y'all, we go over the astrology because that's how I learn. I learn by repetition. And so sometimes Jennifer will break it down for me because I'm not one of those people that naturally know it by committing it to memory. I have to see pictures and all that. And so that's what it made me think of Leo. That heart,
Mm.
you healing the heart, because oh, y'all gonna make me call my dad. I guess I'm gonna call him this week then. I've been putting it off. I'm gonna go ahead and call him.
There
'Cause,
you go.
yeah, it's the resentment. Like you say, you holding on to the resentment of that first relationship, which is with your
Mm.
parent, male or female, however that goes. And if that's disappointing, then that's the broadcast that's forever there. Not to
Mm.
mention the first 2 or 3 men you sleep with. It's just like, yeah, yeah. So yeah. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Brother Uno, what's your social media?
Getting to the root of it all on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay.
I'm not on Facebook that often, but I think I'm on Twitter too. But I'm not on Twitter. I don't. I'm really on Instagram basically. So that's where I do a lot of my content on there. So you know, and my basically is just like trying to heal our people. Whatever I can open your mind with, that's what I bring. You know,
Right.
um, and also on my Instagram, I promote different books that will give you insight on just life, period. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Mhm.
The experience of life is all about educating yourself on things you wouldn't normally understand. A lot of things deal with psychological experiments that they do out here in the world. Um, just like they do with time, they do with relationship, they do with what I'm saying, with the history. Everything is psychological, and it's up to us to figure out the aspects that they play on us with the Wizard of Oz. So at all aspects, these are different attributes of yourself. You brought up the lion, you bring up the Tin Man, and all these different attributes are part of us. that we have to learn how to realize sometimes to go home with yourself, you just gotta click your heels together, you know? And that's the important thing that that we have to do. But my my um whole thing with this book is to understand um the understanding of feminine and masculine energy between a woman, and understanding how I have to present myself when I come into an engagement of these type of things, and how to recognize. That's why I asked the ladies questions about how to recognize an elegant rose, and how to um how to present myself whenever I come across those type of things, or how to encourage a woman to come into her elegant roles.
Mhm.
As being a man, um, we have a have a play in this too. So we have to do our job as help healing our people, and we have to learn what do we need to do to help heal our women, and then our women help heal us.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
That's what I get from it, because that's why I'm sitting here every week. I'm trying to catch it. I come late every week.
It's
I'm like,
good
hey,
you
I'm here.
come. You
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 know,
come. You come. And
right?
y'all don't forget to reach out to Brother Uno. He does have the hookup on the books. Most of the books we was out here busting heads with back in the day. We got him from Brother Uno. He has books on books on books, PDFs, and that's where we got the information from.
Yep.
Also, Brother Uno, we appreciate you taking out time to at least converse with us, because we don't have a lot of that. It's kind of reserved for Wednesday night. A lot of people don't feel comfortable, and so we appreciate you for that.
Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate
thank you.
my beautiful sisters. I appreciate y'all all the time. I'm gonna show up.
Okay.
Gonna show up. Now I might come with some different, what I'm saying. It's just I'm here to learn. I want to learn.
Right,
I
right.
might say some things that might be all the way. Y'all be like, nope, come back this way. come back this way. We not
That's
over there yet.
true.
Come back this way. But I'm here. And I appreciate y'all for having me and letting me speak in this formal engagement, talking about this book particularly. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have
Right.
a wonderful night.
Thank
Same
you,
to
Brother
you,
Uno.
Brother
You
Uno.
too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
Peace, peace.
Okay, and
Peace.
y'all don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Even when we go over, we know we're going over, but when you're in a flow, you don't want to cut the flow short.
Mm-mm.
We definitely are open to different points of views, and so we want to bring y'all some raw and uncut. This is not scheduled or scripted. This is our raw reaction tonight, most definitely. And don't forget, like I say, to share, comment, subscribe, like, follow, whatever the lingo is for the social media platform that you are coming around on. Just don't forget to do that. And also, when you replay the videos, we would appreciate if y'all would comment. We
Mm.
see that you all are replaying and sharing. The numbers are going up. We pushing up in the algorithm. And so by the time we get to the masculine book, we'll be at the top of the algorithm because it's interaction being done. And we'll try
Mm-hmm.
to get back to the comments that you are posting under the videos. I know I try to go back and check and make sure that I respond to each and every one of them, just so that the engagement is pushing my platform up in the algorithm as well. And I am Styles by Nina on all my social media. Katie's Alchemy on social media. Katie's Alchemy is solely on Facebook. I am not on Facebook a lot. I know Facebook is the ABC game, but for business purposes, I do post when we're gonna hop on here and just herbal remedies and stuff like that. So don't forget to show me some love. We will have our links in the description box. And
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, you gonna plug. Oh, and don't forget to plug when we think of us.
Yes, podcast every Thursday, YouTube live. at 10 p.m. Eastern. When We Think of Us is a podcast. My cousin and I have a podcast we started together. This is our second season, and so we will have special guests like Nina will be joining us. And it's really just a podcast that focuses on our experiences as melanated people, melanated women, empowering one another, which is why I'm really enjoying reading The Awakening, the Master Feminine book, because it's part of that. It's an extension of the empowerment. A lot of times, um, us as women don't frequently take opportunities to do business with one another at this particular level. And the reality is that we are abundant individuals. So there's never anything that we lack. And so we can occupy the same space with unique gifts and talents and skills and abilities, and it's perfectly fine and in alignment. So yeah, Jenny Marie, you can follow me on Instagram at The Abundant Sister. I'm on Twitter as The Abundant Sis. Um, Facebook, I'm on there as Jenny Marie. I don't know why. I guess, I don't know. I don't really do Facebook too. You either do it or you don't. I'm one of
Right.
the people who don't. Um,
Right.
but yeah. So you can also, my handles and everything are in my description as well. And you can follow us on YouTube at our channels When We Think of Us as the podcast. So yes, love the support. Thank you. Um, and yeah, thanks again to Brother Uno for just offering up that perspective. And I think we talked about that, just getting that male perspective is important when considering certain action items, right? When we're dealing with. Thank you. Thank you.
Right, right, absolutely. And I enjoy this because we are both open people. We can talk about our experiences without shame and
Mm-hmm.
allow ourselves to be vulnerable in this space, and that provides healing. And so that's what I'm in it for. I love people and I definitely love the healing. And so you and Uno and everybody participating, y'all empower me to share these stories. Because I wouldn't have never I wouldn't
Yes.
never share that. And so it's important that we still, like I say, stay vulnerable, because I feel like we are living in a world where the facade is more of what we see versus, being vulnerable, which leads to the healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate
Mm.
you.
Yeah, yeah. Like we are here to learn what we're here to teach. And we're here to teach what we're here to learn. So thank you for the opportunity to do both.
Right, right. And y'all don't forget, on Thursday night, y'all go live on When We Think of Us, right?
Yes, Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, every Thursday.
Okay, and I'll see you over there this Thursday. I will be in the building when we want to get these conversations had. And last week they had Grow with YOLO on.
Yes, yes. It was a pleasure. YOLO is like my sister, and she just has a wealth of knowledge. Like, I would love to see the two of y'all collab on something. That would be amazing, because we need y'all. We need y'all gardeners and
Yes, I want to
teachers.
reach out to have her to see if she'll be a guest, because there's a lot of people in our class that are doing patio gardening or
Yes.
gardening in a small space, and so she could offer up some of what it is that she does. I saw on her platform, and y'all go over to Instagram. It's Grow with YOLO. She is using vertical gardening to her advantage,
Mhm.
and like I said, it's no excuses. People are growing up. People are growing solely in water. People are growing in dirt, sustained in water jugs. It's just no excuses not to have you some food growing.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yep, Grow with YOLO. She's got a YouTube page as well. Head over and while we liking and subscribing, subscribe to her channel as well. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Show some love, y'all. We have to learn to highlight, and again, go follow Path 11 on YouTube. She is also going through this book with us and sharing her own story. And when I tell you last week's video was so intense, I'm like, this
Mm,
is somebody I grew up with. Um, and I didn't even know, the depth of these stories. And so I did encourage her to do it because it helps you to heal when you can air that thing out.
mm-hmm.
And so go over and show her some love as well. Again, that's Path 11. She makes jewelry, and she also just got her life coach certification, all
Oh,
three certifications.
congratulations.
Yes. And she put out a journal, and look, y'all, I be having like 19 journals. So sorry,
Right?
friend. I'm like, embrace your ish journal. And so y'all go show some love. It is a shadow work journal.
Mm.
And she shares a little bit of her story in here as well. She is signing each copy, and it comes with a pen and a crystal.
Oh,
And
that's
so
beautiful.
not even a crystal, a geode. Let me correct myself. Okay. And so yeah, y'all go show some love. Grow with YOLO. When we think of us, don't forget to show us love. We here. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell on our channel. And we're gonna get up with y'all when we get into the Amazon woman.
Yeah, we need a pre-read on that. I'm
Woo!
wanting to.
Yeah. And so Wednesday night, if you are interested in the pre-read, that conversation is a little more intimate. Just let us know. For those of you who have been um participating, we will send you the link prior to the call. And
Mhm.
we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get some more healing done. You got anything else you want to say?
No, that'll be it. Peace, prosperity, and abundance, y'all. Much love and gratitude.
Right. Peace, power, and abundance. And we out of here.
Safe travels.
Safe travels.